Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, guests will soon be able to get up close to characters. Progress has been made on some projects around the resort.
Encanto will come to a new nighttime show, new Minnie ears. We finish our talk about the wedding trip and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Howdy, partners. For your safety, remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast. And be sure to watch your ears. If any of you folks are wearing hats or glasses, best remove them, because Tag and Teresa have the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of April 6th, 2022. I'm Tag Bushman.
And I'm Teresa Urban. Thank you to Thomas T., Kristen K., Robert S. for all becoming official weekly tiers this week. Also to Will R. for increasing your support on Patreon. Our supporters get some pretty fun perks like DL Weekly swag, bonus content, and access to our Discord community. If you would like some more Disney magic in your day, head on over to dlweekly.net/support to join the community. Also, just a reminder for those of you that are interested, book club this month. We actually have the author of the book joining us for our book club meeting later this month. So if you're interested in that, details are on our Patreon page. You can also find them in the Discord chat as well.
Well, it's that time again for our friend Eric over at Concierge to catch us up on other Disney news.
Hello, everyone. This is Eric Johnson with Concierge, and welcome to the D180, coming to you from the Suncoast Park Hotel in Anaheim. This place is one of Disneyland's good neighbor hotels. The Suncoast is affordable, fun, and within a mile of the parks. If you want to stay off Disney property, it's a great choice. But I'll leave the Disneyland bits to Tech and Teresa, because in the D180, we take a spin around the rest of the Disney universe, and we do it in 180 seconds. Let's jump right in. We begin our journey at Walt Disney World, where projects are starting to wrap up at Epcot and other destinations. The Communications Cafe and Eatery, a quick service restaurant in the front part of Epcot, is set to open this spring. Long-standing Disney World fans will recognize this location as it housed the Electric Umbrella for many years. The park opened up with a restaurant alongside the Communicore East building called Stargate. In 1994, the park changed the Communicores to Innoventions, and so reopened the Stargate as the Electric Umbrella. The restaurant served standard theme park fare, but toward the end broadened its horizons away from its origins of burgers and pizza. Odd side note, 1994 was the year when Epcot Center, the original name for the park, dropped the center and became, what? No, not Epcot. Epcot 94. They did that again for Epcot 95 and then realized changing the logo every year was kind of exhausting. So they just stuck with the Epcot with the capital E and the rest lowercase. Back to the restaurant. The Communications Cafe looks like it will follow with the fresh and clean look that Epcot is going for these days. Concept art shows a central area where guests can watch chefs preparing their meals. The meals seem like solid offerings for theme park food. Multiple burgers, of course, but they embrace the world theme of Epcot. A French burger with brie, Southwestern with salsa and guac, a Vietnamese banh mi burger, and a Mediterranean take all look pretty delicious. The restaurant will offer multiple salads inspired by French and Chinese dishes. Of course, there will be plenty of plant-based options as well, including an interesting-looking pizza with carrots, peas, and lime dressing. If all of that sounds borderline healthy, go for some specialty milkshakes instead. Moving outside the parks to the resort, big news at the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campgrounds. The Hoop-Dee-Doo Review is coming back on June 23rd. For those of you not in the know, this act has been a staple of the resort from nearly the beginning, packed with singing, dancing, and vaudeville-style comedy. While you watch from your seats in the rustic Old West Theater, feast on all you care to and enjoy meals of fried chicken, barbecue ribs, prodigious sides, and a world-renowned strawberry shortcake. Reservations for the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review open May 26th for that first day back. Make some time for this zany classic on your next trip. Heading eastward, we come to the Disney Wish as it sets sail for the first time out of its shipyard. On March 30th, the new ship left the yard and started its journey to the Atlantic Ocean for testing and prep of its maiden voyage of July 14th. We learned this week about some new retail options on the ship. The Treasures Untold shop will carry plenty of Disney collectibles and a selection of luxury items. You'll find the latest Dooney and Bourke handbags there and get ready for the largest collection of Pandora jewelry ever offered in one store. I already have enough trouble getting out of a Pandora store without a purchase. Imagine being on a ship where my wife could walk to one every day. Well, If you want to give your kids the royal treatment, the ship will have an elegant Cinderella-themed Bibbidi-Bobbidi boutique on board. Kids aged 3 through 12 can select from classic character looks or choose from 3 new cruise-only options. Get ready for Captain Mickey, Captain Minnie, and Ariel outfits. To be clear here, the Ariel is not the usual ball gown, but a fun dress that recalls her life under the sea. Disneyland Paris is set to join the American parks in allowing close-up character meet and greets. It's great to see this oh-so-Disney tradition returning to parks around the world. Will your child be the type who runs up and hugs their favorite character, or the type that hides and watches from afar? Sadly, not much going on at the Asian parks right now. Shanghai Disneyland and Hong Kong Disneyland remain closed at this time. Tokyo Disneyland remains cautious, operating at reduced hours. All of the parks look forward to resuming their status as premier destinations once borders reopen. And that's 180 seconds. I hope you enjoyed our quick spin around the rest of the Disney universe. If you'd like to learn more about these Disney adventures or just have a few questions, please come on over. Visit the social media and websites of both DL Weekly and us, their official travel planners, concierges. We look forward to planning something special for you and your family. I'm Eric Johnson, and this has been your D180.
Well, thanks, Eric, for all of that wonderful Disney news from around the rest of the Disney universe.
Now let's get to the news.
In an interview with the Orange County Register, Disneyland Resort President Ken Potrock made the shocking comment that the phased reopening of the resort is just now at the halfway point. He said that the phased reopening will take at least another year. The resort has rehired or hired 28,000 cast members to bring the current staff to 30,000, 2,000 shy of pre-pandemic levels. Potrock also commented on the ability for the resort to move quickly and try different things, even if they're not perfect, knowing that they will get to the right place in the end.
This was surprising to me too, and I was also surprised that cast member levels right now are just, like you said, 2,000 shy of pre-pandemic levels, because it hasn't always felt that way. It felt for quite a while, it did feel like there was some understaffing issues, and cast members were having to kind of wear multiple hats, so to say, and they were having to do a lot of stuff. So I was surprised that it was that close. But part of that might be there's a lot of newer people. So people that, aren't as seasoned and might not know the ropes quite as well as those that have been there longer. I think a lot of people were also shifted around. Mm-hmm. So they had to learn, maybe they had been there, but they were learning new roles. Mm-hmm. And just the fact that everybody had off for so long, not to mention, we did have all sorts of things going on, the pandemic, right? And we had, people having to call out and quarantine and all that kind of stuff. So even though there was perhaps that many people on payroll, they still were suffering shortages for sure.
So the two things that surprised me about this was I thought we were getting towards the end of the phased reopening.
Yeah, that too.
So the fact that they're only halfway, that surprised me. It also surprised me that he basically talked about, because people have been upset with certain things Disney has done, with, probably things, he didn't specifically say anything, but I know things that people have complained about is like how much mobile ordering there is as opposed to being able to walk up, Genie and Lightning Lane, which is always going to be a contested thing, I'm sure. But he directly commented about how the resort is doing these things. They're quickly making decisions and trying things, which you got to give them credit. I mean, I think it's good to try things, because you never know if it's going to work for sure unless you try it. And when they get guest feedback, which I feel like they are listening to a lot of guest feedback, because when we went for your wedding, I got a survey, you got a survey.
I did.
When we went in December, you got a survey, I got a survey.
The surveys,
they've been surveying everybody.
Well, and the surveys are very specific.
Yeah.
Right now, they kind of pinpoint and figure out. You can tell the things that they're trying to gather more info on. So I'll be very transparent. This last survey that we got was basically all about Genie and wait times, and what if I used Genie, if I didn't use Genie, and how I felt. My trip was impacted because of Genie or not because of Genie, and how are wait times impacted. And that I didn't give them a good survey, because wait times were crazy and all over the place when we were there because we didn't use Genie. We talk about this later, of course, in our discussion topic, but I do want to mention, because I forgot to mention this when we recorded the discussion, I thought it was hilarious. Like, taking a step back, pre-pandemic, I was like Fast Pass all the way, love Fast Pass, love Max Pass. and
You were like a Max
you were
Pass
very
person.
like curmudgeon about it. You're like, we need standby. We need to get rid of this. We need to get rid of the lines. So this last trip,
I still feel that way.
this last trip, who buys Disney every single day and
you know
who
why?
does not buy Genie at all? You don't need to defend yourself. I'm just saying I thought it was hilarious. Like,
Well, I did 'cause
retrospectively.
I am a 5-day park person. I was trying to cram 5 days into 2.5 days. So I felt like I needed that to be able to hit everything I wanted to hit.
I know, but you know what I mean? I
So-
just think it's funny that of all the
Yeah.
people to buy Genie
I
each
get
day,
it.
it was you.
I also thought we were going to use PhotoPass more because we were there with the exchange students. I thought we were going to do a lot
Yeah.
more PhotoPass
Yeah.
than we did. So, and you can't get that like separate. I mean, it's the same price. So you might as well get the Genie with it.
Oh, yeah.
But I still think that the proper thing is to not have the service.
Yeah.
It's to just have standby
one
lines.
thing that I have a like slight little bit of hope is since Genie is digital now
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like physical tickets being printed for the
Right.
fast passes, Disney can control how many slots they can adjust how many slots
Right.
they have for Genie. Will they adjust the slots and not oversell it? That's a whole different story, but they have the ability to adjust it
Sure.
if needed. So I do think there might be just this like slight little hint of a glimmer of hope that maybe they're working through that and they're figuring out what
Yeah.
the correct balance is.
But let's play evil corporation here
That's
for a
why
moment.
I said there's just a tiny little
Evil corporation goes, hey, if wait
Cha-ching,
times are
cha-ching.
longer, people are going to pay to use this.
cha-ching, cha-ching.
And
Yep.
people like me paid to use it.
Yep.
So I think that it depends on what the priorities are. I do think that there is a segment of visitors who are disenfranchised by this system because it already is very expensive to go to the park and very expensive to do everything at the park. And then adding, I mean, it was 4 of us, so it was $80
Per
a
day.
day. Plus we bought the extra lightning lane for Rise, so that was another $20 per. That was another $80. So $160 in one day extra to have it
Yeah.
and go on Rise. So just
Yeah.
one of those things that like I don't think we would do it again because like if James and I went, we would go for a longer amount of time, and I don't think we would do Lightning Lane. We did it because we were there with people who hadn't been there before and all that stuff. We probably would have handled the park more like you and Vern did, which is we probably would have just bummed around. In fact, we probably, if it would have been okay with you, if we didn't have the boys, we probably just would have hung out with you and
Oh,
Vern
yeah.
and just done
Bummed around,
whatever and enjoyed the
Let
porch
the
and stuff that we
Disney
talk about
winds
later.
Take
Yes,
us where we go.
which you'll hear about later in our discussion topic.
Well, as early as April 18th, guests will once again be able to get up close and personal with their favorite Disney characters in the parks, resorts, and cruise ships. Not all locations will return immediately, but characters will return in a phased approach through spring and early summer. So, of course, this means you'll be able to go up and be right next to your favorite characters. The one thing
autograph.
that I forgot about was autographs. Because yes, you could still get distance photos and everything, but autographs, that's pretty big. That's pretty big.
You know what? I almost wonder why couldn't they have done autographs? Like you could have handed a book to a cat to their friend,
Yeah.
and their friend could have handed it to them, and they could have signed it.
Yeah, timing probably just time of it.
But
How
I'll
do-
tell
how do
you though,
feel about this?
I think especially for kids that this is really important to have back because I know, and from reading people's experiences online and people in our Discord chat and stuff, how important it is for little kids to
Yeah,
be able
oh,
to
yeah.
touch and be near. It's like celebrities for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
These people that they never probably thought they'd actually meet, and there they are.
Yep.
There's Mickey, there's Minnie, there's Goofy, Donald. And so I think that's really important. I do hope that in some level that they balance it where they still have meet and greets like before,
Mm-hmm.
but I do wish that they would do stuff, which we've talked about numerous times, of having them come out and be more spontaneous
Yes,
maybe,
yes.
and also be able to not just have a line to meet the person, but just like walk by. Like Cruella was great. She just was in her little boxed off area off to the side, and she was just commenting on everybody. Like, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how many little kids want to get a picture with Cruella? Probably not that many. So she'd be a great character to leave as a like distance. Maybe all the villains almost would be that great distance.
The villains are very popular too.
Yeah, but how many little kids want to go like hug the villains? I feel like
Yeah.
the villains are
You
usually like
never know.
meh.
You never know.
But Mickey, very important. Minnie, I think all those characters are very important for that. So, plus, dining is going to go back to normal with the character dining. Mm-hmm. So I think that's also very, very important.
I have, like you, mixed feelings, and I am also hoping for, I don't want it to go completely back to pre-pandemic how it was, because it just is not as magical when you have to wait in a long line and you have to be very patient as a child to go meet Mickey Mouse or Donald or Goofy or princesses or Chippendale or whoever it is. That's really difficult, but that one-on-one time and interaction is very, very special. I wanted to go, it won't ever, but I wanted to go back to when I was a kid and you couldn't just like look and see, like the schedule for characters was not public knowledge. So people didn't know where they needed to be and when they needed to be there to be able to see these characters. I liked the more organic feel of just like coming around the corner and like, oh my gosh, there's Baloo the bear. That was one of the characters I remember coming around the corner and seeing. So I do hope it goes a little bit back to that, because that was so magical.
I will say that the lines for the meet and greets, I feel like, are a double-edged sword, and here's why. When we did it with Catspur when we were there, because he wanted to get his book signed, but he also had two books for his niece and nephew at home. And the plus side, or the downside, is you're waiting in this line, and it seems like it crawls. Mm-hmm. The plus side is once you get to them, which is what causes the bad line, is each character wants to spend a lot of time with you. Yeah. They want to have a whole conversation. Like, you'll hand them the autograph book, and they will be like, how are you today? Oh, that's wonderful. And like go into a whole conversation without signing the book. Mm-hmm. Like, they hold on to it. They're in control of how long you're spending with them.
Yep. And
they're having this whole thing with you, and then they sign at the end and they hand you the book. Mm-hmm. So there is a payoff, because you get to spend a lot of time once you get there. But because you get to spend all that time, the lines are longer. So I don't think there's a right answer, because I don't want to be like rushed through like a line of people, like a wedding receiving line, like sign, move. Like, I don't want that. But at the same time, like, the lines have got to move a little faster. And then what's even worse is when you're waiting in line forever, and maybe you join the line at a certain point, and then they come and they're like, Mickey's got to go take a break in a few minutes. Yeah. And then
So now the next question, since we have Genie Plus and we have individual lightning lanes, do we think that's going to become character meet, or we're going to have some characters?
Somewhere is doing that. Is it Disney World?
World does have some paid character
why not?
meet and greets. I think if they do that at Land, it will be Mickey's house and Minnie's house, if those are still character meet and greet spots. And I think the princesses at Fantasy Fair will also become one. But that's fine if they want to do that. But as long as you can also see these characters in other places as well. Yeah. That's you can do that, but you can't have them like 100% behind the paywall, in my opinion.
Now, I also saw on Mice Chat that I did not realize this, because I think that we were not there at the time or something. But one of the things that apparently frequently happens, I won't say always, because again, I did not experience this, but I also wasn't looking for it, was at the end of the night, they have a lot of characters at the train station waving goodbye to you. And that's a new thing.
Yeah, it's like at the mornings, in the mornings, how they have like Mickey, Minnie, and the Fab 5 and 6 sometimes are all up there.
I love that.
They do that at night too. Mm-hmm.
But not before.
Not pre-COVID.
No. Yeah. So I like this.
I can see, back on the paying to see characters. I agree. I wouldn't pay to see characters, but I could see if you wanted to guarantee seeing Mickey.
Yeah.
If you want to pay to guarantee it, then you can guarantee,
if you want to see the big man.
Or, like I said, as long as Mickey's still going to be hanging out in Town Square in the morning, and there's other opportunities to see Mickey outside of just paying to go to his barn, then I can, I can understand it that way. Do I agree with it fully? No.
Maybe that's the best of both worlds we're talking about, is they'll have the free distanced meet and greets, And if you want to get close, you have to pay for it.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Well, there's a lot of construction on the west side of the park at the moment, but progress is being made. The pits around the end of Tom Sawyer Island have been filled again after sitting covered and drained for work to be performed over the last couple of months in preparation for Fantasmic. This means that the rafts to the island can use the normal dock again and make the trip to and from the island faster. The sailing ship Columbia has also returned to service following its refurbishment.
This is so exciting. I know we're still basically 2 months away from Fantasmic coming back, but it's still very, very exciting to see all of these things kind of coming in place, because the sooner this all falls into place, the sooner they can start rehearsals on the island and on the ships and all that stuff. So very, very exciting.
I also want to talk about, I didn't put it in the news segment, but this is all related, was the area for the Pirates queue. The trees are gone, which we talked about before. All of the ground has been dug up in there.
They tore up the cement that was all down there. So they're redoing that whole kind of courtyard area.
I'm actually really excited to see what this all looks like in the end.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic because, like I said, I feel like in general they've done a really good job with all of this enhancing walkways and stuff. So I'm interested. The next thing they got to figure out, there's again, this is a New Orleans Square thing. They need to figure out the line with the Haunted Mansion, because I feel like that also gets kind of gnarly and it's hard to get back to like the train station when it's all.
Yeah, when it takes
it's not as bad as Pirates.
Yeah, when it takes over the like fountain area. I'm surprised they haven't utilized, and maybe something's coming down the road, but they haven't utilized the space. It's not. Mind you, I understand it's not a very large space, but the space that was where the Fast Pass distribution kiosks used to be is just kind of wasted, quote unquote, or empty space, dead. We'll say it's dead space back there. So I'm surprised that they haven't done, utilized that. There's plans. There's got to be plans, because every little inch in Disneyland is very, very important when it comes to space. So who knows?
If they didn't have Lightning Lane, they wouldn't have to have a whole section dedicated just to like walk through, and they could make that part of a queue.
Maybe they just need to make the Lightning Lane the servants' quarters entrance.
Or they just need to make the Lightning Lane walk right up to the front door instead of having to, because right now with Lightning Lane, you go around.
That's true.
And over.
I'm surprised that, you're right.
Because they merge you on the porch.
Side
porch.
Yeah. Because if they could have 2 queues in the front, and then you just walk right up to the porch for Lightning Lane, and then you have both of the queues open for the rest of the way. Yeah. And wiggle your way around. I would enjoy that, because I like the queue closest to...
Oh, it's not ADA.
I like the queue closest to the Pet Cemetery better. And when I'm in the standby queue, that's not my queue. The standby queue is further away from the Pet Cemetery. Encanto fans rejoice. The movie, which recently won an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, is coming to the facade of It's a Small World. Starting on April 11th for a limited time, the facade will come alive with a montage playing tribute to the hit song We Don't Talk About Bruno. Oh, no, no, no. Like the casita in the movie, tiles across It's a Small World's facade will flip, turn, and rearrange themselves between scenes. I am awkwardly very excited. Like, this is not that big of a thing, but I'm so excited about this.
See, this is the type of stuff that I wish Disney would do more of, because getting together a projection thing, I'm sure that there's a lot of work that I don't understand that goes with it. But it's cheap for them, really, to do comparatively. Like, they're not building an attraction. But I think people would really like it. This is the type of stuff that would be cool. Yeah. So
fun.
This would be really cool. This reminds me when I went to Disney World back before they had the projection show and fireworks in Disney World. Before the fireworks, they would have this projection show on the castle. This reminds me of that kind of a situation. I'm very excited. I'm curious to see what this looks like when it debuts and stuff. We're only a few days away from it, so I think that'll be cool. I did today. I had to travel in the car with my mom for an appointment for her, and I did play the Encanto soundtrack in the car. I don't know how she felt about it. She just sat there quietly the whole time, but I did enjoy listening to some Encanto, so I'm excited for this to come to It's a Small World.
There you go.
A staple of the summer season at Disneyland is returning for the first time in 3 years. The All-American College Band will be playing down Main Street once again this summer. The program was suspended due to COVID and the resort being closed. 21 21 members of the band are chosen from over 300 applicants each year. During the hiatus, the program celebrated its 50th anniversary.
This is very exciting. Just, another thing, coming back to the resorts and bonus entertainment. That's the one piece of the Disney puzzle I feel like we're missing is getting all of our entertainment back. So
maybe that's the
very,
second
very
half
excited.
of the coming back.
Yeah, maybe. However, I feel like there's got to be more entertainment cast members than 2,000.
Yeah. I will say the college band. Have you ever seen the All-American College Band?
I can't say for sure if I have.
I have. They're fun. I feel like they're really animated and do some... I mean, the Disneyland band is really animated into stuff too. But it's cool. And we've talked to people that have been... have gone to the parks and been in these bands and choruses and everything. So it's what a fun experience for these college members as well. So that's awesome.
Guests staying at the Paradise Pier Hotel will soon have easier access to Disney California Adventure. A new back entrance is under construction near the driveway into the Grand Californian Hotel.
So I have no idea how this is going to get in, so I was Google Mapsing this. The only thing that I could gather, because where I think this is happening, there's a road, there's no easy way to get guests across without having them cross this thing. There is a path that goes next to the Grand Californian, and it spits out by the backside of Corndog Castle, which is where I think this entrance used to be.
Yeah, that could make sense.
So maybe. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for the whole Paradise Pier re-theme, hotel re-theme.
I think this entrance... This, DCA entrance makes a ton of sense for Paradise Pier Hotel because, right, it's the whole reason for the theming of the hotel was because of the theming inside of the park. Not anymore. They are fixing that.
Yep.
But so it makes total sense that it would actually physically be connected to the park as well.
Marvel fans have yet another character to see at Avengers Campus. Moon Knight, which debuted last week on Disney+, has arrived at the campus to visit with guests. Moon Knight only shows up after dark, of course, on top of the Avengers headquarters for a few minutes at a time, so check back often after dark if you want to catch a glimpse of this new character.
So I will be very transparent and honest. I do not know anything about Moon Knight. I have not watched the first episode yet. But man, does this character look kind of like Omnimus up on that, on the tower and flipping his cape around and all that stuff. He looks kind of, if I didn't know he was a hero, I would be wondering if he was maybe a villain.
So I think...
And I guess I don't even know for sure if he's a hero or not. I'm assuming he's a hero.
I've only seen one episode, and I'll be honest with you, it left me with more questions than answers. But I think he might almost be an anti-hero, kind of like Deadpool.
Sure.
Where I don't think he's a villain, but I don't think he's like a hero. I think he just kind of goes through and does his thing.
He just is.
But I will say, my biggest concern with Moon Knight was, what is the actor who plays Poe Dameron? Oscar Isaac. So Oscar Isaac is in this, and everything I've ever seen him in that wasn't Star Wars, I think of his character from Star Wars. This one is cool because he has an accent in this.
Okay.
So that already takes me away from his character, which is great. And he just acts totally different than that Poe character. So I do like the fact that this is the first thing I've seen him in that doesn't make me think that he is Poe Dameron in another movie.
So is he Moon Knight?
He's Moon Knight.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I was like, how did we get here? But okay. Gotcha now. Gotcha. I'm caught up.
Yeah. So I think it seems like it might be a good show. Like I said, I had a lot of questions. It's kind of like the beginning of WandaVision, where the first episode, you're like, I don't know where they're going with this. That's how I feel with Moon Knight. And I feel like as it goes, it'll make more sense.
Sure.
And I actually said this right after we finished watching, because all of us watched it together Wednesday. I said, I think this should have been one of the shows that they dropped 2 episodes for the beginning, because I could see a bunch of people watching it and not knowing what that was and just not coming back to it.
Well, and that's what happened. That kind of happened with WandaVision too a little bit.
But if they were to drop 2 at a time, maybe somebody would have been like, well, let's see what episode 2 does. Maybe it'll make more sense. And then maybe, I don't know. But it's cool that he's in California Adventure on the same day it came out.
April is here, and with it, the return of the classic Mickey floral in front of the Disneyland train station. Minnie Mouse had taken over the arrangement for March as part of Women's History Month. It was the first time that Mickey was not the face of the park. I am over the moon that we happened to be there and got to see Miss Minnie in front of the train station. If for those of you that weren't able to see it in person, I've seen actually Mice Chat had some really nice photos that they took from the monorail. So it was a nice, almost aerial feeling photo of the Minnie Mouse floral. They also had a photo of the fresh, I'm going to say fresh and very loose air quotes, Mickey Mouse floral. Because if you look closely, you can see where Minnie's bow and eyelashes once had been, because those flowers aren't quite as full as the rest.
But I was right.
Yeah.
That all they did was add eyelashes and a bow.
Yeah.
Because I thought I remember us talking about this, and you thought that they had done more than that too.
You said all they do is add a bow. I'm like, no, I think
and
they
the
did
eyelashes.
this and
Okay.
this,
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyways.
Well, speaking of Minnie Mouse, she has dropped a large collection of new ears in the parks. 5 new ear designs are available now at the Emporium at Disneyland. The ears include a Kelly green sequin set of ears, which are shimmering green for $29.99, also available online at shopdisney.com. A gold sequin set with a blue bow and sequin gold ears for $34.99. A Princess Tiana bauble bar set featuring Tiana's green color on the ears and band, and a gold crown and rhinestone accents for $49.99, also available on Shop Disney. 2 sets of Coach ears available in red and white for $295 each and are made from real leather.
So, you know me and my ears. I was not very excited about any of these ears. I'm sorry to say. The one I liked the best was the Princess Tiana ones. I don't know if I like them well enough to be able to buy them, because they are a little bit more. You said they were like $50, but they're very pretty. But the other ears just kind of missed the mark for me. And I definitely do not need to buy either of the Coach set of ears for $295. That's a little too spendy for my ear budget taste. But as you all know, always excited to see new ears. The gold and blue ones look like some sort of celebration ear to me. It looks like there should have been something else going on with them, like maybe their graduation. They kind of give me, for some reason, I'm getting like Walt Disney World 50th vibes from them for I don't know what reason, but I feel like they feel slightly unfinished. Like maybe there should have been a charm in the middle of the bow, or I just feel like they're missing something maybe.
I will say this green one,
it's a good spring
the Kelly green sequin mini ears, is very flashy.
Yeah, it's a good like bright spring green. But
I'm with you. I feel like they came out with such a home run with that whole whatever series you want to call it.
Oh, with the Disneyland D.
Yes, with the hat and the ears and the hoodie and the photo album and the cup and the frame. And I just loved every bit about that, and I just don't get excited about any of these.
The culinary experts at the Disneyland resorts are at it again. Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen Express is now serving up cookies and cream beignets. Guests can purchase a 4-pack of these yummy treats for $12.99. They are topped with cookies and cream icing and chocolate cookie crumbles. Weekly tiers who are fans of Oreos and chocolate will surely love these. I want to try them. I do. I want to try them. I can't remember what Jazz Kitchen had when we were there, but it wasn't quite as tempting as these cookies and cream ones.
I feel like this is going to have to be, if these are there
next time we
go, these will have to take place of those cookies and cream donuts that I wanted so bad that in our discussion topic Teresa had.
I did. And Tag was very sad.
And I was very sad because you'll hear why there was like a double. It was like salt in the wound. Yes. But yes, these beignets, I will say when we were there, I had beignets from the mint julep window.
Oh, yeah.
And they were so good.
I was sad I forgot to try the seasonal mint julep. It was like, I don't remember what it was. It was some sort of fruit mint julep, and I totally forgot to try it when we were just there.
Yeah, I didn't care about that, but I will say, so what we did is we got the regular beignets, but I remember the review that we read before we reported on it about the cookies and cream beignet, or not cookies and cream, but there was like a sugar cookie beignet that they had.
Yeah, with the
they said that the beignet didn't matter, but the dipping sauce was good. So we bought a side of that, and the regular beignet with that dipping sauce was very good.
Yeah.
And the dipping sauce was like 89 cents or something like that. It was great. highly recommended. Well, the Walt Disney Company has been working to protect the planet with a number of environmentally friendly steps over the last few years. Disney Planet Possible is the collective effort to make a more positive impact in these regards. In December 2020, the company announced the ambitious goals for 2030, focusing on achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions with their direct operations. Since then, 2 new solar facilities will be coming online near Walt Disney World in 2023. Solar arrays have been installed at Castaway Cay in Hong Kong Disneyland. 61% of total company operational waste has been diverted from landfills, and launched a plastic-free packaging for a line of classic dolls. Visit the link in our show notes at DLWeekly.net for more information on what the company is doing.
I think this is really exciting because I was actually reflecting and like thinking back on this. You know, you don't think something like a plastic straw or plastic cutlery is that big of a deal when you're there and using it. But then multiply that by, so like Food and the Wine Fest, for example, I'll admit I was very bad. I used weight, like each time we ate, we probably got new forks and stuff because we weren't eating back to back to be able to reuse the same cutlery. So me alone used how many pieces?
Well, you had 6 of you, right?
Well, yeah, but like Vern and I shared, and it wasn't like each time it was 6 people. It wasn't quite that bad.
Okay.
But just me, you know, how many pieces of plastic cutlery did I go through during that trip? Then you multiply that by how many more people are visiting. You know, it adds up crazily fast. So I actually was thinking that I need to get better and start bringing reusable cutlery. You bought the bamboo set one time we were there.
Yes.
But I don't know if you've ever remembered to bring it back with you.
So I used the bamboo set once, and it's really thick.
Yeah.
And is, first of all, it made it hard to like use it because it was so big, like it wouldn't poke through food as well, like the fork.
Sure.
And it was just, and another thing is like, it's hard to like clean it when you're in the park. Like you don't want to just keep like a dirty fork in the thing all day. So I think that's the downside for me on it. Mm-hmm. I will say this isn't Disneyland necessarily related, but I do want to comment because you're talking about this. I sometimes will order food for pickup, like online orders of things. And I will say, like, they'll usually give you an option. Noodles Company does this all the time. You can check a box that says, don't give me cutlery. Yep. And every time they give me cutlery anyway.
Do. Yep. And same thing I was thinking too with, reusable straws. Because yes, yay, Disney has not plastic straws anymore. We have paper straws. However, paper straws. Because paper straws are great in concept, but they get soggy.
They've gotten better, though. The ones we had this last trip were not as bad as the ones that were a while ago. They didn't disintegrate as quickly.
I feel like I need to use 2 straws because I don't drink my drinks super fast, so I feel like I need to swap straws out because they get soggy before I finish.
Well, you've got that magic key straw now.
So I need to, that's another thing that I'm going to start trying to do better is by bringing my own straw with me. I do have the magic key holder straw and I do have other straws. So anyway, it's one of those things, again, you don't realize, with a company as massive as Disney, it's huge that they're trying to do things because it's a much bigger impact than, just me as one person versus, however many people they're serving on their ships, at their parks, all over the place. So yeah, it's crazy. That's the other good point too. Lids. They don't actually put plastic lids on your cups anymore.
Sure.
You have to request a plastic lid, whereas before they just always gave you a lid, which half the time all you're doing is taking the tray, turning, and like going right to your seat. Mm-hmm. So there's really no need for a lid. If you're walking around the park, I can see wanting a lid so you're not sloshing your soda around.
You know what Disney should do? I know other theme parks do this. I think SeaWorld does this. Universal, I think, even does this. What Disney should do if they really want to make a huge thing is they should offer like a beverage plan. So you buy a mug, and then you get either free or like reduced price refills.
I'm always surprised because they have all the different like travel mug things that you can buy there. Same thing with the popcorn buckets, but very rarely do they run things where you get, refills for a discounted cost. But that would be a really good, that helps me, the visitor save money, but more importantly, it's helping reduce waste.
Yeah, and I would think that it would save them money because they're not buying as many
Containers.
cups and stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, I wish they would do that with the popcorn too, because I feel like they do these things to buy the popcorn buckets. Like they had the Magic Key one, and I would have brought my bucket again this last trip, but like they don't give me a discount for it. So why am I going to lug this thing around? So I think that they should do more of that, and they should do something with the drinks too. Is they should offer, because like I said, I think like SeaWorld and stuff does that. It's like you buy the cup,
Whatever cup,
and then it's either free because like the cup is like $20 or something for the day, and you have to show your receipt, or you pay like a discounted fee every time you want to refill it.
Yeah.
Because to me, that seems like that would just be so much better for everybody.
Definitely.
Psst, avast there. You come seeking questions and long-lost Disney information, eh? Sure, you come to the proper place, but keep a weather eye open, mates, and hold on tight, with both hands, if you please. There be squalls ahead, and James and Vern waiting for them what don't answer correctly.
Welcome to Trivia Land. How we doing tonight?
Good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, trivia will be good.
We will see.
I'm excited. I think we've got a very interesting mix of questions tonight, so let's hop right into it. You ready?
Yes.
Excellent. Your first question from listener Chris Y. What classical music piece can be heard in the cue of Roger Rabbit's Toontown Spin? Obviously, you can't hear it today.
Yeah. My brain was going a totally different way, and I was thinking Adventureland, and I was thinking the Glenn Miller Orchestra music that they play in the queue over at Indy. So
I went to
my brain's like way in the wrong spot right now.
Like there's the piece of music that on some soundtrack was New Orleans Square, but they always play it on Main Street, so it was kind of weird. It's like a piano thing.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. I feel like it's got to be old timey, right? Because isn't that technically kind of
classic?
Yeah.
So is it classic like old timey, or is it classic like I don't know, like
what
Beethoven
classical
or something?
Music piece?
Yeah.
Oh, classical. I don't know. Beethoven's Ninth? Sure.
I genuinely don't know. I'm stumped.
So Beethoven's Ninth, will that be your final answer?
Yes. I love how Piper is trying to help you type trivia questions, Vern.
I know, she's wonderful. Your second question, I learned as I was standing in the lobby of the Frontierland portion of our hotel.
Oh.
Mm.
From 1956 to 1977, this attraction occupied the space that is now Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Was it
this is
Rainbow Mine Caverns?
The Mine Train
Mine
through
Train to
Nature's
Nature's
Wonderland.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Okay. Your third question. I looked up because I was curious about it. Snow White's wishing well says, "Your wishes will help children everywhere." Do you know how?
Oh no, they donate the money, but I don't remember what organization they donate it to.
Yeah, they donate all
children's
the
charities.
all the money you dump into the wishing well, and I assume in the waterfall area pond too.
Yeah.
To children. In fact, probably everywhere in the park that's people throw money. Snow White in that little area of the queue, and wherever else people throw money. Yeah, I'm gonna say probably. Like, how specific do you want, Vern? Do you just want, like, children's charities, or is this a specific charity?
I'm looking for specificity.
It's something...
I'm going to say...
It's not like Children's Miracle Network. It's something...
Isn't there, like, a children's hospital or something down in Anaheim?
There is. But it's not
that.
It's something to do...
And it doesn't go to Make-A-Wish, does it?
No, it's not like Make-A-Wish. It's something else. I've read it before. It's something like Children of the World or something like that. Yeah, I've definitely read it, but I just don't remember the exact name of what the specific charity. It's something about like the Children of the World or something like that.
I think there's a charity called Give Children the World.
Well, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that because we don't have a better answer.
Give children the world. And that's your final answer?
Yes.
Okay. And your fourth and final regular question, submitted by Minister Aaron.
Oh,
What?
Minister Aaron, as in the guy
Your
that, yes,
officiant.
our officiant.
Yes. Geologists, architects, and construction foremen rely on survey markers, those brass plates inlaid in the ground, to guide them, giving them clues to latitude, longitude, and other information. How many survey markers can you find in Disneyland Resort?
Oh my
So,
gosh, a lot.
You know what? He was talking to me about this, and
lot.
he probably told me this answer, and I have forgotten it.
There's a lot.
He found one in like New Orleans Square.
Yep. There's one like over by the Rivers of America. There's one in DCA just off the fountain. There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
I told him because I'm like, I know, I've seen them. I can't remember where because his wife actually, like, that's what she likes to do because she works.
Yeah.
That's part of her job is with surveying stuff.
She's a geologist.
So when they go different places, it's their like fun little thing to do to find the survey markers. Some people like smushed pennies.
Sure.
Other people like finding, doing like the scavenger hunt to
So
find
how
the survey
many?
markers. I want to say there was probably 20 at least, if not more.
I'm just going to
It
throw
was
out a
quite
random
the
number. We're going to
list.
say like 38.
38.
I'm probably wrong, but
I'm probably wrong too,
my
but there
first
was way
answer
more
was
than I would've thought.
15, but then you said 20, and I was like, well, maybe it's more. And the first number that popped in my head was 38, so that's what I'm going to
Yeah,
go with.
I might be completely undershooting it.
We will find out.
Mm-hmm.
So those are your final answers?
Yeah.
Those are my
38 and
final
20?
answers.
Yeah.
The only thing I was able to show him is I did find the spike that they used at the castle to make sure that like Main Street and the
Street was-
castle were
yep.
lined up. I'm like, I know where this one is, but it's only a spike. It doesn't have the actual like
Yeah.
marker stuff on it.
Okay. And your bonus question from listener Whitney N. Translate this and tell me where you can hear it. Long, 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 long. Short, long, short, long. Short, short. Short, long, short, short, short. Short, long, long. Short, 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 short. Long, long, long.
I'm gonna say that's
Long, short, long.
Walt's opening
Walt's
day
opening
speech
day
at the
speech at the-
Frontierland,
no, at
New
the
Orleans,
New Orleans Square
station.
train station.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Did you want me to continue
No.
going until I'd done all of it?
No. For your sake.
All right. Well, listeners, how do you think they did? How did you do listening at home? Stick around until after the discussion topic, and we can all find out together.
Well, this week for our discussion topic, we are talking about the rest of the wedding trip. I've already seen, we're recording this a little bit early. We're recording this on Monday the 4th because of time constraints and whatnot. But I have already seen numbers, and this has been a really well downloaded episode. So I think people really care about your wedding, Teresa.
It was pretty darn magical. So thank you everyone for listening and for all of your kind comments on all of our different social media platforms. It's really amazing.
Huge engagement,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's super amazing.
So what we're gonna do now is a lot of our week at this point is Teresa and I were not together. So you're gonna get a lot of the same days, but from two separate vantage points, I guess, if you will.
Can I just say it was a little confusing being in a Disney park, knowing you were in a Disney park, but not with you at all? It was weird.
Oh. I mean, I think I was distracted because I had the two exchange students, so I didn't notice it as much. We were with family and stuff.
I had a bunch of stuff going on too, but there was a couple of times that I'm like, this is weird. Tag's here too somewhere.
Well, and in one of our stories, we did bump into each other, so it worked out. So Teresa's going to start with basically everything after the wedding that Sunday night. So, what happened?
With the wedding being a morning wedding and then having they call it a brunch reception. It was more like lunchtime though, because the reception wrapped up around like 3:00. We cleaned up, which was actually really easy. Cleaned up what we needed to clean up at the venue. So because we brought in our own decor, Disney does not allow you to just, leave it behind. You do have to pick up after yourself. If you do get Disney floral decor, you can pay for them to take care of the stuff for you. But we decided we'd take care of it ourselves. Not a big deal. And it was, super easy. Went back to the hotel, relaxed for a little while. It worked out well. I don't remember if I told you this part, Tag, but part of getting ready in the morning, the tag and the two photographers actually took the couch that was in the room and turned it around. So the couch, instead of like facing in towards the room, was facing out towards the balcony and had the nice balcony view without being.
I mean, that's how they should leave it, because that really is the best
It was
view.
nice. So we just hung out, we relaxed on the couch, just was looking out, enjoying our view without having to be out on the balcony in the wind and all that.
Can I also mention that I found myself today, because I was pre-writing some stories for the podcast this week, and there were some photos with that tower in the background, and I keep thinking, like, Teresa had that room, and I think that it forever is going to be in my mind.
I know, I do that too. So we were on the 12th floor, and it was like one of the back corner rooms. So it's very easy with all these downtown Disney construction photos to be like, oh, I was in that room right there.
Yep.
It was really fun. Anyways, so relaxed for a while, and then of course, since we still had the evening to ourselves, we wanted to go enjoy the park with some of our wedding guests that attended that had also went back, changed, and were back enjoying the park. So this is where my Mickey balloon dress came in, the one that we were talking about.
I never saw you wear it.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that's right. You
not.
never saw me because you were in DCA.
Wait a minute. I had to have seen it, because wasn't that the night that I was sitting at your hotel room?
Yeah, maybe then. Yeah.
But were you wearing a jacket or something? Why do I not
I had
remember?
a sweater on.
Okay, that's probably why I didn't
covering
recognize
my arms.
I was also very tired, so.
Yeah. So anyway, I changed into my Mickey balloon dress that we talked about that I had to do a bad thing and buy off of eBay, because it never came back. It sold out super quick, and it never got restocked. So I ended up having to buy it. Was it comfortable? It was very comfortable. Okay. Yes, it had pockets too, which was a plus.
Ooh.
So anyway, we decided to get a little bit more dressed up. So I don't normally wear dresses, period, let alone in the park. So wore my dress. Vern was wearing a nice pair of dress slacks and a button-up shirt. I don't think he actually had a tie on, but we both still had ears on. So we were dressy, yet Disney. And it was just a really different type of way to enjoy the park, because we just spent a lot of time just kind of hanging out, weren't super focused on doing attractions. We did bump into our photographers later, because it was their last day at the parks. And I want to say we did Jungle Cruise with them. Yeah, I don't even remember what all we did, because it was just such a different way to Disney for us, because it was just kind of taking in the ambiance and just like relaxing and just enjoying the park and not being so super attraction focused. Really, for me, the entire trip was more about just enjoying the park and enjoying time with other people, and far less about attractions. I actually really didn't ride that many attractions, especially when you look at how many days and how long I was in the park. So there's quite a few I didn't do, but I wouldn't have it any other way, because it was just a really nice, relaxing trip.
Yeah. We started off a little more rocky, I'll suppose, if I'm being completely honest. So I had to go meet up. Our community manager, Kate, was amazing, and she took care of our exchange student boys during the day while James and I were at the wedding. And the boys did almost everything. They used Lightning Lane, and they got through a bunch of stuff, and they ate a bunch of stuff, and they had a really, really great time, and I think Kate did too. We met up with them. And it was so weird, because you know me, my first attraction at the resort. First of all, my first park is usually Disneyland, so it was weird that it was DCA. And then we had to do something that they hadn't been on already. So we did Mickey's, or the Pixar, is it the Pixar Pal Around? We did the Pixar Pal Around, so that was an interesting first ride of the trip, but it was nice because it allowed us to sit there and kind of talk about how their day was and everything. Kate doesn't like the Pixar Pal Around, so she hung out at the bottom and just took some time to herself. So we did that. We did the Incredicoaster and some other stuff. We decided to hit up a bunch of the food and wine fest stuff, which worked out really well. They weren't allowing people to order at one booth everything.
Yeah.
Because they said that they didn't want you to order it and then get to a booth and then they were out of it and all this thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember one of the first days we were there, when we were there Friday, they had sold out of things like the fried artichoke dip, that sort of stuff. So each day we were there, and I don't know if this is still going on. I've heard some people say that you can still order from one booth all of the things you want to try for the day. But just check, just ask. Don't assume that that's a thing.
Well, they'll tell you.
Yeah, they did have to halt doing that while we were there.
Yeah. So we had, we looked through the book and we basically had a sip and savor. And actually, Kate had a sip and savor. So we bought the sip and savor off of her. And we went and ate the stuff we wanted. So we had I'm trying to remember what we had. We had the Cubano slider from Delish, which was pretty good. I know that I was dubious about it in the beginning. I remember when we talked about it in the show, I was thinking it wasn't very appetizing looking, but it was pretty good. We ate the Snickers caramel peanut milk chocolate Mickey macaron, which was very good. The only downside to that one was we got one that just came out of the fridge, so it was like super hard. So when we were trying to like bite into it or break pieces off, it was a little hard. We did the blueberry buttermilk pie, which I think is one of my favorite things that I had during this trip. Did you have the blueberry buttermilk pie?
Not, no.
Oh, it was so good.
I went with a lot of savory things for the Food and Wine Fest.
Yeah. We did the chili relleno empanada, which James thought was amazing.
Did you not like it?
It had too much of a spicy kick for me.
Oh my gosh.
But it was super cheesy.
That was one of my favorites, was the empanada.
Was it?
Yeah, so good. I had it, when did I have it? I had it Friday night. I don't remember. We may have talked about this last week, so I apologize if I'm repeating food stuff, but oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so crisp. The cheese inside was so like melty and gooey, but it wasn't heavy and greasy like cheese can be. And I thought the poblano pepper, like the spice that gave, super good. I thought for sure that I was going to end up getting seconds, if not thirds on that. I ended up only having the one, but man,
I am looking at your thing here, and you did rate it a 5 out of 5.
I did.
The chicharron crusted fried artichoke dip was just okay in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, I loved that too. I thought that was pretty good. I liked it. Was surprising to me because there was more than just the dip in there. It had a nice little zip. I want to say there was maybe even like corn pieces or something in with it as well. I also liked the sauce that they had with it that they put underneath that.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
I wish they had more sauce. I'm a very big sauce person.
It's something that, which is funny since it's artichoke dip that you wanted sauce for your sauce basically. But
yeah.
It was a little different because with it being fried. But I will say if you get like the empanada or if you get the fried artichoke dip, any of these kind of fried items, I would definitely recommend to get it and sit down and eat it right away because they are definitely much better fresh than they are after they've sat for a little while.
Yeah. We had the French onion grilled beef tenderloin slider, which I'm looking at your rating here, and I disagreed with you because
mine was not good.
We thought it was good because the meat just like melted in our mouth. The only problem was the bottom part of the bun was like stale. We could like not cut through it. So that was unfortunate.
No, mine was very tough and chewy. I was really disappointed with it because it looked amazing, but yeah, it was like overcooked and kind of chewy, kind of leathery.
The carbonara grill garlic mac and cheese was really good.
It was good. It wasn't as good as I remember it being from Touch of Disney, though.
No.
So I don't know if it was exactly the same or if it was a little different.
I still wish we had the garlic noodles from there, but they didn't. But yeah, so that's what I can remember that we had from there. We went over and we did Guardians of the Galaxy, which the boys really enjoyed. I laughed because Max looked like he was going to die.
So he looked like you.
Yes, but I knew what to expect. Was grabbing the corner, and I was watching him more than anything. But it was good. We ended up eventually at some point in the night, we watched the Doctor Strange show.
Oh, yeah.
Which there was a cast member who works there, and I did not. Did I get his name? I don't think I got his name. But he reminds me of a friend of ours, Teresa. And I went up and I complimented him because he was such. Like, there's something that he brought to the whole thing.
He's really great.
That I really enjoyed, and he said it really made his night that I said something to him.
He's been there since the first time we've seen the show. He's become a staple, in my opinion, to the show.
He's
he does
great.
a really great job.
I wish I remembered his name because I'd love to like tell people to go talk to him. But the boys liked the show. And yeah, so we just had a really, really good night there. Everybody was tired, so it was good that the park closed at 10. And then I went to your hotel room to get my stuff while the boys and everybody went home. And by the time I got back, everybody was asleep. So that was my Sunday.
Very nice. Very nice.
Was that your whole Sunday? Was
pretty much, yeah. Nothing, like I said, we just had a really just relaxing, kind of met up with different parts of my family and different guests, and kind of just bounced around the park and just had a really, I felt like, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I feel like if I were a local, this would probably be how I would Disneyland, because if you're local, you're not going to always be like, go, 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 go to all the attractions.
Yeah.
You take in more of the ambiance and just kind of really enjoy being in Disneyland more so than rushing from here, there, everywhere. So yeah, it was really nice. We did go and watch the fireworks. Well, the lack of fireworks, because they didn't actually have fireworks that night. They were about to, and they called it like the minute before the show started, which was kind of a bummer, but it was really fun. We went and watched it back at Small World, and we went with all of my family that was still up and awake in the park.
What did they think of
really
Small
fun.
World as a location?
They really liked it. So we had two smaller kids with us, so they were able to get up and dance around and bop around.
Oh, perfect.
They had their bubble wands that I gifted to them post wedding, because we did use some Mickey bubble wands for photos and such. So they were both like just having the time of their life with their little bubble wands. But yeah, that most of my family after fireworks did decide to go back home for the night. I don't remember what we did for dinner that night, but we did something for dinner.
All I remember from that day, other than the Food and Wine Fest, was your amazing food from the wedding.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard when that overshadows everything else.
Yeah, maybe we didn't do much for food. We may have just gotten some sort of like snacky thing, because I don't remember doing a full meal, because we were still very full from all of the wonderful, wonderful wedding foods and cake. Oh my God, that cake. I will never, I'm like, it's very hard now because we're having a Wisconsin reception for friends and family back home here that weren't able to all come out to Disney. And it's I'm going to be honest, it's been really hard doing things like ordering the cake, because I'm like, it's not going to be my churro and Dole Whip cake, because it was just so good.
You should write in to City Hall and have them send the recipe, and then find somebody who does.
Maybe.
Have the person, I can't remember her name, that we had on the podcast, have her make it.
There you go. Maybe. I don't know if they'll divulge those kind of secrets for their Dole Whip and
I don't know,
churro
man. They
cake.
give recipes for
so
everything
good.
else.
So next day was Monday. Vern and I started the day by ourselves. We were like the early risers of our entire group. Well, take that back. Not out of the entire group. We did have one other part of our family that was early riser, but they were like, go, 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 go to all the attractions.
Oh, wow.
So they were doing their thing, which was fine. Vern and I just kind of waltzed in, and I don't even think I told you about this yet. I made t-shirts, so every day Vern and I had match t-shirts. We were that adorable couple the entire trip.
Which is funny because you were never like that.
Usually I'm not a t-shirt. Well, usually I don't like doing t-shirts at the park, but it was cooler weather.
Sure.
There were certain t-shirts that I'm like, this is the only time that I will ever be able to like rightfully wear this t-shirt, and it's like this Disney wedding t-shirt thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to do it, I got to do it now.
Sure.
So that day, matching shirts, the ones that were in I think it was what we used for the kind of like, yay, Teresa and Vern are married social media announcement. It was the bride and groom with the castle shirts is what we were wearing. So, of course, we were getting, people saying, oh, congratulations, that kind of thing, since we had it plastered across the front of ourselves. But we walked in, and Mickey and Goofy and Donald and I think Minnie were all up on the train station waving whatever. And so I said, oh, Vern, we should go take a selfie with Mickey. So we went over, said hi to Mickey, took a quick selfie. And as soon as Vern put the phone down, this guy like ran over to us and was like, looking at me, looking at Vern, looking at me, looking at Vern. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, gosh, this person looks kind of familiar, but why is he being weird? Then it like dawned on us all at the same time. We're like, Mikey? It was one of Vern's old coworkers from lacrosse that he worked with years ago. He had moved out of the area. He and his wife were there with their 4-year-old, and they were there. They just happened to be at the parks celebrating. They still live in Wisconsin. They live in like Eau Claire or something. So it was just really weird bumping into somebody that we knew from back home.
Is that so weird? Like Disneyland, I feel like over the times I've gone to Disneyland, I feel like a few times I've bumped into people and I'm like, what are the possibilities that you would be here at the same time?
So it was funny because they're like, what are you doing here? And Vern just like pointed at our shirts. He's like, we did a thing. Because we weren't, since it was a destination wedding, I wasn't doing things on social media like counting down the days or, wasn't being incredibly public about the whole thing. So I'm sure not too many people knew the actual, day that it was happening. So they probably had no idea. So anyways, that was pretty funny, pretty small world.
that morning, we rope dropped and went right back to Rise because we wanted to get on that like first thing.
Yeah.
So we got back to Rise. We went on Rise. We went over to get a breakfast Ronto wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys messaged wondering where we were.
Yeah.
And you guys came and like hung out with us for a little while.
Yep. So after we ran to Vern's old coworkers, we got our coffee, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of we actually were just hanging out on Main Street when I was like, oh, that's right. Tag and the boys and James are in Disneyland today. We should check and see what they're doing. So we were just grabbed ourselves a bench on Main Street and again, just enjoying being in Disneyland and just kind of floating on cloud nine. Just
didn't you have like
enjoying the magic,
the porch to yourself at some part of the trip too?
That day, yes. We'll get to that later. So we walked back, met you guys when you were finishing up your Ronto wraps, and then we all went and rode
Smuggler's
Run together, didn't we? Because we had 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
So we did not do really well.
No, but it was fun because
that was probably the worst. No offense to the exchange student boys, but that was probably the
one
worst.
Of the worst.
That was the worst I'd been
really?
on. Yeah,
I've been on it where I've been on it one time when the outside was just bad.
Really?
Bad.
That was the worst I had seen the outside.
Oh, yeah. So it was fun. We put Max and Eon in the front as the pilots, and it was really fun because Eon was like, you told me that I'd be steering, but you didn't tell me that down is up and up is down because it's like reversed. Yeah. And so it was so funny because me and James, I think, were trying to shoot things, right? And you guys were like repairing everything.
Yeah, we were real busy back there. Real busy.
And that was when we got in the line, I said, oh, this won't be whatever the wait was, and it totally was what the wait was.
I was having fun because throughout the trip, I was getting my stopwatch out on my phone because there was it with you?
I don't think so. I don't remember you getting your phone out for stopwatch.
No. Oh, there was one time. Oh, it was on the wedding, though. It was Sunday night. So the entire family, we all met up actually at Hungry Bear. And we looked and we're like, oh, Smuggler's Run has it was like 20-minute wait or something.
Sure.
Not bad. And it would have been perfect timing to do that and then get over to Small World to watch the fireworks. So we walked over there and it said 20-minute wait, right? We walk in. You get up that first ramp and there was the line.
Yeah.
Like you were just barely in the show building and the line was already there. And I just kind of turned and looked at everyone. I'm like, I'm really sorry. This is not a 20-minute wait. This is probably going to be about an hour, if not longer. So we did turn and all decide to leave because I was like, well, okay, do you guys want to, we can do this or we can bail and go do the fireworks. And I was like, yeah, no, we want to do the fireworks. So there was a couple of times, not a couple, there were quite a few times I want to say that the wait times were not great as far as posted versus actual.
Yeah.
There was a couple times it worked to our favor where it was posted higher than the wait time actually was, but more often it was actually longer of a wait than what was posted. So that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, because you guys didn't do Genie or Lightning Lane for anything. We did all the days, which I also want to point out, this was our huge fail this Monday. So we don't do like we did. In fact, in hindsight, it doesn't even make sense why we did this. My original thought was, we'll in the morning hit up a bunch of things when the lines are low, and then when we want to do it again, we'll get lightning lanes for it. Well, we waited till about midday to start trying to get lightning lanes. Well, all of them had moved into the evening.
Sure, yeah.
And some of them were sold out. So I was like, well, that was a bad idea. Mm-hmm. So when we were there, and we'll get to this, but when we were there Tuesday, we just started lightning laning right away because we basically wasted our money the day before because we weren't able to use it.
Yeah, I'm not on Lightning Lane. I'm not a fan. I really am not a fan. And I think Lightning Lane was the reason that the wait times were so out of whack. Because never have I ever before this trip seen Guardians of the Galaxy at a 200-minute wait.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple times over multiple days.
Because you guys never got to ride it.
Nope, I never got to ride it. Vern never got. Yeah, we never got to ride it because the wait was just atrocious. And looking at it, you're like, oh no, that probably is going to be that long because the Lightning Lane was like spilled out into Magical Tape Land, and like the regular queue was spilled out. So it was just nuts. And we did web slingers twice over the trip.
Interesting.
Both standby. because, I re-looked. It was $15 to do the individual lightning lane for that. So that's why we didn't do it. It was a 90-minute wait for both, which for that time, because we went when it was Southern California spring break, for that time period, 90 minutes wasn't too bad, especially when you had Guardians right there for 200. But both times, it was just watching them just pile in all of the lightning lane people. It's like, take me back to the time when we had no lightning lanes.
Yeah. Well, that trip we had this summer was great. Like, lines moved.
Yeah. And I felt really bad because it did leave a bad taste in some of my family members' mouths because they're like, this just feels like if the more you pay, the better of an experience you have. And, these are people that don't know all the ins and outs like we do, and people that only go, not as frequent. So it made me really sad that it was that noticeable and that obvious to them.
Well, Sunday night, we did stand in the standby line for Guardians, and it was kind of moving. It felt normal.
Did it?
However, we got right in the door of the front of the
first, like when you first
the first
enter
room
the
with all the
building.
boxes.
Yep.
And we stopped, and the guy in front of me was getting mad because they just kept letting lightning lane and lightning lane and lightning. Like we didn't move probably for a solid, if I'm being generous, I'd say 10 minutes.
Wow.
Because they just kept letting lightning lane and lightning lane and lightning lane. And this guy was like, what is going on? We are not moving. Mm-hmm. And he was getting visibly like agitated because up until that point, we had paused a few times, but we kept moving. But we got there and there was just no movement.
Do you know what that probably was? It was probably because nobody there were no lightning lane people coming at that point, so they didn't have to pause the standby line.
But it was not good.
Yeah.
And we didn't really, like I said, we used lightning lane better later on, and it wasn't that bad.
It makes me really sad that to have a good park experience when it comes to attractions, that you, depending on when you're there, you really need to invest in purchasing lightning lane. And I just don't think that's doable. So, for example, the wedding guest list, we'll say, that was 26 people.
Yeah.
26 people times $20. That's a ton. That's a lot of money. So I'm not a fan.
Now, I do want to say something that we had good use of that doesn't cost anything extra was this time it felt like mobile ordering worked a lot better than last time.
It did.
Because we mobile ordered almost the whole time, and we were able to get windows like close to when we wanted to get food, which was great. And when we would check in, it was very quick turnaround, unlike when we were like at Pim's, remember? And I had like checked in and it took or it wasn't even Pim's, it was Smoke Jumpers.
Yeah.
I checked in and still had to wait forever. So it seemed like that was working well because there was one morning, I want to say it was Tuesday around lunchtime, maybe. Might have been Monday. It all blurs together now. But Max and I went to Jolly Holiday and got that, and James and Eon went over to Galactic Grill and got that, and then they came back over and met us, and both of us were able to get in and get our stuff pretty easily.
Nice.
And super quick. Although we never really, like, Jolly Holiday has always been good with mobile order. I don't know what they were doing that was magic, but it was pretty good. And of course, the sandwich was good as always.
The only issue I had with mobile order was that Saturday I had mobile ordered our Bengal barbecue, and I went over there, and there was nobody in the mobile order line. There was nobody in the the regular standby line. And there was some other girl that came up for mobile order, and I heard her go up and ask, because I didn't want to be that person. She asked, hey, my mobile order is, whenever, is it okay if you bump it up? And he said, actually it'd be better and faster if you just cancel and just go order over there. So that's what I did, because I had like 15 minutes until our window came up, and we were on a tight time frame for Saturday. So I'm like, I don't want to just stand here for 15 minutes. So I did, canceled it, ordered it, and was gone before that 15-minute window.
So dumb. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, that's the only weird thing that happened mobile order-wise with me, was canceling just to go get it faster at the standby line. But anyways, so after
Smuggler's Run.
Yep, after Smuggler's Run, then the best man and the officiant were up and in the parks. My family was up and in the parks, so that's when we parted ways from Tag and his family. So I don't even remember what we did. at some point we ended up going over to Adventureland, meeting up with my family. My grandma was in the park that day, and she has an electronic convenience vehicle that she was using. And she was so funny because she was saying, I don't want to do any attractions, which is fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any attractions. So we were waiting in Adventureland because people were getting on the Jungle Cruise. There were people in line for the Jungle Cruise when we went up with my family. And so I was like, oh, well, let's go do the Tiki Room. She's like, I don't want to do any attractions. I'm like, it's a show. She's like, nope, I don't want to do it. And then I was like, well, we could go on the Columbia, because all you have to do is drive onto the Columbia and then you just sit and nope, I don't want to do that either. But she had so much. I just thought it was funny because I was planning all these things, what we could do with grandma that wasn't
And she didn't care.
a quote unquote an attraction. She's like, oh no, I don't want to do any of that. So we just enjoyed the park with her, which was great because
So she just wanted to people watch?
Yeah, she was just content, happy as a clam, just being there and like being in the space and people watching and going around and seeing all the different stuff because she hadn't been there since like Galaxy's Edge had opened up and whatever.
Sure.
So we split from them at one point because they had a dining reservation that we didn't get in on. We went over, had chicken over at Plaza Inn because that was on Greg, the best man's like to-do list. He really wanted to try fried chicken.
What did Greg
there.
think of the fried chicken?
He and Aaron both really
Good.
liked it. I don't know if they had any complaints about food,
That's good.
actually, now that we're talking about this. So we got fried chicken, and then I genuinely don't know what we did because I didn't do anything. Anyways, we just bummed around the park, met back up with my family at some point. We met up with you and did the Haunted Mansion.
Yep, because we met up at some point during the day, and again, this is all blurring together. At some point during the day, we met up with Chris, who's a weekly tier, and works at the Haunted Mansion, and she was there with her daughter that day, and she wanted to ride Haunted Mansion with us, so we did that.
And Liberty and her
partner Shane also did that, and then afterwards, you guys left.
Yep, 'cause we had to go hang out with Grandma somewhere.
We went and did the canoes, which is interesting because we only had 2 days in Disneyland, and we did the canoes twice. Ione loved the canoes. I'm not sure what the thing... Oh, and in fairness to Jill, I was demonstrating to everybody how Jill fell in the canoes, and I myself fell in the canoe. And nobody helped me.
And you had a hard time getting back up.
And I had a hard time getting back up. So, Jill, I understand your pain. It wasn't you. It was just the canoe, trying to get in and out of the canoe. We also at some point rode It's a Small World, which was hilarious because we waited in the standby for it and had a good time. This time was nice. You know me. Every time I'm in the park, my thing is to talk to people about their buttons. I love to say happy birthday or congratulations or whatever. And this time, finally, I would say 95% of the people I said something to said something back and knew what I was talking about.
There you go.
Because our last trip, I was saying it and people looked at me like I was crazy. And I always point at their button so they know what I'm talking about. I'll be like, happy birthday, and I'll point at their button. And when we were there before, people just weren't doing it. Or they have the just married, and I'd say congratulations. This time, a lot of people were doing that. But anyway, so I was doing a lot of that in this queue because there was a lot of people with buttons. But what was funny with It's a Small World is we got on it, and I don't know what happened to It's a Small World, but I have never been on a boat that moved this slow.
Really?
We went very slowly.
Crawled through Small World.
Yes, and so Ione, who was sitting next to me, curled up on the bench next to me and tried to fall asleep because we were moving so slow. The funny part about this was there was a couple in the row in front of us, and they were talking to us in the beginning while we were in line. He hates It's a Small World, like Vern. And he said, I'm just going to go on it for her. And we went so slow through it, and we were teasing him through the thing that oh, look how slow we're going. And there were periods where we sped up, but then we'd slow right back down. So it probably took us... what normally would take maybe 15 minutes to go through the whole attraction, it probably took us, I'm not even joking, probably a half an hour to get through It's a Small World. It didn't bother me. I thought it was funny and it allowed me to look at a lot of things that I don't normally look at, but it was a very excruciating trip through It's a Small World that went very slow.
Interesting. I wonder if they had the water pumps were
it must have been
going at full blast or whatever.
And I think maybe only some of them were going because we would hit sections that would kind of launch us, but And we didn't have any bump into us or anything. It was just, I don't know. It was very abnormal.
Interesting.
But we did that. We hit up a couple things in Fantasyland. We were in line we did Pinocchio. We were in line for Snow White, which I thought the boys would like better than Pinocchio because it's like more updated.
Mm-hmm.
We got to the switchback, goes back and forth. If you count the outside portion, probably 6 or 7 times. We got to within 2 switchbacks of getting on. And then it stopped, and they had 3 maintenance guys come, and then they were like, "You can wait. We don't know how long it'll be." And we decided, let's go do dinner or something, and we left.
Yeah.
So, Fantasyland, we did get through most things, but it took us the whole 2 days of going back and forth into Fantasyland to hit up everything, because it felt like every time we would see a slow wait, by the time we got over there, it was busy.
Everybody else saw the
Yes.
the low wait too. Yeah. So we did lunch. I genuinely don't remember what we did. Anyways, did lunch.
We did Plaza Inn, you were saying.
Yep, we did. Yeah, but I mean, like after that, I don't
sure.
remember. But later, I decided, since I wanted to spend time, obviously, with Grandma, because that was her one day in the park. So I decided, okay, she doesn't want to do any attractions. Not a problem. So I was like, entertainment. Vern loves the entertainment.
Yeah.
I love the entertainment. This will be great. So I found that the Disneyland band, and that there was going to be a cavalcade kind of back to back. And so we went over to Main Street, and that's when I spotted it. An open seat on the infamous Main Street porch.
Wow.
And so I quickly went over and grabbed the one seat, and I was just like thinking to myself, maybe if we're really lucky, we'll just eventually
Take
over. And we did.
Wow.
We owned that porch for probably like an hour.
That's great.
It was funny because I was like geeking out about it. I'm like, this is such a big deal. It's so hard to get like a seat on this porch, let alone the entire porch. So we took selfies of us all sitting on the porch.
I'm looking back in my photo because I think you sent me a photo of, look, we took over the whole thing.
I was so excited. But so that was the highlight. The low part was the scheduled like band appearance. No. First was the cavalcade, the Frozen cavalcade. Have you watched the Frozen cavalcade?
We did. We were in line for
one float.
It
they cannot call that a cavalcade.
We were in
very
line
underwhelming.
for Storybook Land, and it went by. And
Yeah.
I was like, they didn't even have any accompanying dancers or anything.
No, just the one float. So that was a letdown. Because everyone was expecting, I'm like, it's a cavalcade. It's like a small parade, which that's what a cavalcade is supposed to be. So that was
Usually.
a little underwhelming. And then to make matters worse, I'm like, oh, well, we'll just wait here because the band's supposed to perform here too. Do you know what the band was doing? They were walking past as they were going down to the flag retreat. That's all they did. They didn't actually do anything. I'm like,
well, at least you got the porch.
I look like a crazy person because I told everybody we're going to see the band perform. We're going to see this little mini parade, and it was so underwhelming.
I mean, it was a mini parade.
It was a very mini parade. But then after that, we hopped over to DCA. Did
you guys do Dapper Dan's?
We did do Dapper Dans.
Okay, because we
did
didn't
lots
see the
of
Dapper
Dans.
Dans.
We did Dapper Dans on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Lots of Dapper Dans on Tuesday. Hopped over to DCA. Oh, here's the sad cavalcade.
Oh, yeah. It's just like the one float from the...
The one.
What was the... Soundsational. It was the parade float from Soundsational.
So, anyways, it was fun. We just got to relax on the porch, basically. So we ran over. I grabbed the fried artichoke. Vern and his friend Aaron were really excited about. I don't know. I'm really sorry.
It was like a beer flight or something, wasn't it?
A specific, it was one beer that they were both very, very excited about. And then we decided to go over because the Fat Cat Swingers were playing on the stage. So we went over to go see that. Well, on the way to go see that, I remembered somebody said something about the straw. And I was like, oh, that's right. That's today. So I told the guys to go on ahead. I ran over, got my straw, totally lucked out. There was absolutely no line. I don't know how I managed that because everything else I had seen was these crazy long lines to get the straws, but lucked out. Disney magic, I guess. But then also the other thing that I had been seeing was crazy long lines for food booths. Mm-hmm. And so I knew I wanted the artichoke stuff. There was no line for that, so I got it right away. And then when we were going, Garlic Kissed had like no line when I was going back. So I was like, so I got the mac. And what's the other thing?
You got so lucky with these lines.
I did. So I got the carbonara grilled mac and cheese, and then I also grabbed the grilled top sirloin. I used my little tabbies. I only got one sip and savor pass. I did pretty well as far as using my tabs appropriately. I gave both of these a 4 out of 5. I probably liked the carbonara mac better.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the time I walked all the way back over with my food to where the guys were at the Fat Cat Swingers thing, the sirloin had gotten a little cold, so it wasn't quite as good, but it was still very, very tasty.
You were smart and took pictures of your food at least, so that was nice.
I tried to take pictures of my food. After that was one of the first times we did web slingers for the trip, because both of the guys are into Marvel, so of course we had to go do web slingers. We also caught the nighttime show of Doctor Strange, because that's how you do.
That's when you got to do Doctor Strange,
because it's awesome. And then I think kind of wrap the night up after that. We did other little rides like Little Mermaid and some other smaller things.
We
but
didn't have Little Mermaid this time.
The main things were web slingers and Doctor Strange for sure.
I was very surprised because when I was in your hotel room Saturday night, they only did projections. Sunday, they canceled them because you were there. Monday, I told James we're just going to watch the projections on Monday because Tuesday, then we can do rides and we'll want to get through that. Well, they happy circumstance did fireworks.
Well, I'm not sure if... Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I'm not sure
because they did it Tuesday night, too.
Yeah, so I'm almost wondering, since it was Southern California spring break, if they did them all week or if they did fireworks Monday and Tuesday because they had canceled Friday and Saturday. I'm not quite sure.
Or Saturday and Sunday, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the happy circumstance was for that, but...
It was pretty cool.
That's right. The last ride we did that night was Monsters, Inc. because we were standing in the queue and then all of a sudden we could hear the fireworks. We're like, well, dang it.
Yeah, the boys liked the fireworks show. The fireworks was fun. The only downside with the boys was, teenagers with the, Snapchat, Instagram kind of stuff that they want to do. So instead of sitting there actually like taking it in, one of our students was like recording for Instagram or Snapchat or something. And I was just thinking to myself, just enjoy it. Like, we're not going to watch this again. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they all enjoyed it. So we did that, and then we took some nighttime photos and stuff. We actually had a great PhotoPass photographer that took some photos of us in front of the castle at night, and that was really fun. I told the PhotoPass photographer, I said, embarrass them as much as possible. So we have a goofy photo shoot with both the boys in all these ridiculous poses. But PhotoPass photographers are always kind of amazing and crazy like that.
Yes.
So Tuesday.
Oh, that was the other thing that we did Monday was. Yeah, so after lunch we got on the monorail, rode it over to the hotel, hopped off, signed the wedding certificate, license stuff with the officiant because he was leaving early the next morning. Came back into the parks, and then we met up with my family and rode the Matterhorn with them.
That's right.
And when we were in line, all of a sudden I looked up and you guys were all going through Lightning Lane.
Yep.
And it was the weirdest timing because somehow we ended up in like bobsleds that basically went one right after the other, even though we were on opposite ends.
Yeah. Because as we were,
you were on the Fantasyland side, I was on the Tomorrowland
where
side.
they were doing belt check, you had just rolled up and then we got sent. So I was like, what's the likelihood of
timing.
that?
Yep, it was a really, really
Matterhorn,
weird timing.
great as always.
Yes.
Did your family enjoy the Matterhorn?
They did. That was the little guy's first time on the Matterhorn. He was very brave, did very well.
He didn't get jostled around too much?
No, not too much.
I told Ione he had to sit in the second seat because the front of the bobsled, there's not a lot of leg room.
Oh.
Because the back, you can stick your legs like next to the chair.
Yep.
And so I told him, I'm like, I know you probably want to ride in the front, but trust me, you're going to want to be in the back because your legs will get, his shins would have gotten banged up.
Yeah.
So, but they enjoyed it. They thought it was a little wild. But it was fun. It was fun. As always.
Yep. So moving on to Tuesday. Tuesday was kind of different. It was a very peaceful and a very good last day for Vern and I, because Tuesday, it was just us. We didn't, none of my family was all over in DCA. So we just had a very, another just kind of nice, relaxing start to the day. I'm going to quick pull up my thing and look. Walked in, of course, got our coffee. We kind of meandered back and, did some just kind of enjoyed Fantasyland. No, why did we even? I don't know why. I'm not even sure why we ended up going over there, but we were characters. We were very interested in characters. We got distracted by characters is what it was. We were making our way to Fantasyland to do some Fantasyland attractions that morning, but then got distracted by characters and got pulled in over to like the fantasy fair area. So, but once we were over there, then of course I was seeing everybody leaving with their garlic cheddar bagel twists.
And you had to get one of those?
Of course, we needed to get a garlic cheddar bagel twist. I always forget how massive these are. Garlic bagel twists are a very good value at Disneyland because they're very, very large. So Vernon and I shared one of those. I had a Boys and Apple Freeze, of course, because they're amazing. The Evil Queen and Snow White were out, so we went over and said hi to them. We
must have walked by there right after you guys were there because we also walked by when they were there.
Yeah, maybe. We when we went over there, they were talking to us, and then asked about our buttons because we had our little, congratulations buttons on, our happily ever after buttons. And so we said, we just got married. And it was so cute because Snow White's like, oh, that's wonderful. And the Evil Queen's like, that's terrible or something like that. It was really fun. Tiana was also back over there. So I went and said hi to Miss Tiana and got our photo taken with her as well. Super fun. Yeah, we ended up seeing them at some point later. We started our Tuesday morning. We decided, so in our group, we have somebody who doesn't eat sweet things for breakfast. It upsets his stomach. So we ended up at Ronto Roasters again. And we went and used our lightning lane, and we got on Rise in the morning, of course. So we you bought a lightning lane.
Yes. So we waited around. So we went over there. We ate our Ronto wrap, whatever. We waited for our time to come up for Rise, because by the time we got back there was huge crazy lines. So we got pictures with Kylo Ren, who was hanging out. That was kind of fun. And then we went on Rise, which was great. We decided afterwards that it was time, because there was never going to be a better time to ride Splash Mountain, because we had tried to ride it the day before with Chris after we did the canoes, and we made it through a good chunk of the line, and then it broke down. So we ended up riding Winnie the Pooh, which was very sad after you're waiting for Splash. Then we literally walked across to Winnie the Pooh. But we rode Splash, of course, got wet. Max was in the front, and that poor child was wearing pants that got soaked. Ewan was the second one. Everything came over into his lap.
Yep.
I was behind him. Stuff came over into my lap. James was behind me. Didn't get terribly wet. And then there was a couple like in the backpack, and I don't know how wet they got, but it was fun. And it was warm enough that it ended up being okay. But it was. I mean, you can see from this picture, like everybody was pretty wet. Ewan was funny because he had his backpack with him, so he was like hugging his backpack the whole time. And yeah, so it was a lot of fun. They did think it was funny that you got more wet inside before the big drop than you did on the big drop, except for Max, because Max had the same problem that Vern had, where it like just came over onto him.
Poured onto him.
Did you guys ever get to do Splash?
We did. We did Splash on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yep, did Splash Saturday. So we just kind of bummed. It was really weird because we actually almost didn't ride an attraction in Disneyland before we park hopped back over to DCA to meet up with my family. But we did. We were walking by the castle, caught the Mickey and Friends cavalcade, a real cavalcade, not just one little float
with no accompaniment.
Yeah. So that was fun. I do enjoy that cavalcade. We had a really nice view of it. We were looking right next to the castle and like looking up towards the Matterhorn.
That is a great
So it was a
view.
really, really great view. After that, we decided to go do some shopping because I hadn't taken any time to do some shopping. I got my photo album, which I was very excited about.
Now, which one did you get?
The new one. It's kind of like a cream colored one. So not the one that we were all excited about that had the cutout Disney D in it. This was
I got that one.
Yep. This is a cream colored one that had the castle on the front in like gold. Still has like the Disneyland writing.
Yeah.
I want to say, so I feel like the two side by side look like they're two different variations. Like they
couldn't pick which one they wanted.
No, but
they made both.
like the cream one I feel is more like probably like 50s and 60s classic Disneyland feel. And then yours is maybe like later 60s. You know, like they're very close together, but the logo variations are just ever so slightly different. So I think it was really, really hard to decide between the two. But I decided that the cream and gold one was more kind of fitting for like a wedding album type thing. The other thing I liked about it too was it came wrapped in saran wrap, but like plastic
Shrink
wrap.
wrapped.
So it was protected. It also came with a pen, like a gel pen to be able to write, be able to write in it with your photos.
Were they the same price?
They were the same price. And then the one that you got with the cutout D, I was having a hard time finding one on the shelf that wasn't wrecked already.
Yeah.
So that made me even more nervous to try and travel home with it. So that
You know where I
sealed the
ended
deals
up
with
finding
me.
it? I ended up finding it at the Emporium of all places.
Really?
Or no. I found it at the Fantasia shop in the Disneyland Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that
I
was-
asked him for paper to put inside so when it would close, it wouldn't bend because there was
Yeah.
that weak point that all of them were bent
Yep,
on.
yep.
Somehow it made it home okay.
It did.
And it was
that
shoved
pretty,
in my
that was
bag.
Pretty amazing. So we did some shopping, and then the one cool thing that we got to do, which this was a first for me,
Okay.
and like checked off a Disney bucket list, is when we were walking through the front half, because we had already done like the Emporium side, so we were
Yeah.
on the other side. We walked through the magic shop, and he was showing off some tricks, so we sat there and
Oh.
watched the cast member perform some magic tricks at the magic shop. So that made me feel very, very excited. And I thought Bruce, the old cast member that we had on here that worked at the magic
Yeah.
shop, I thought he would think that was pretty cool that we finally took the time to like enjoy the magic shop. I also really like the hidden Mickey in the magic shop. Do you know about the hidden Mickey in the magic shop? So if you look at the ceiling when you're in the magic shop, there are cards that are like tacked to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And if you look really closely, I want to say it's an ace. And instead of it being like a club or a spade, it's a little Mickey head in the center. It's
Oh.
very, very cute, very well done. And then we decided we hadn't ridden the train at this point in our journey
So
yet.
before you get to your train, because I think we rode the train before you, after we got off Splash Mountain, rode the train. We were going to do a Grand Circle tour, but we decided to just ride it, and we got off on Main Street because we also wanted to do some stuff, and I think we wanted to do lunch, then try to hit Fantasyland
Sure.
after that. One thing we did see, that I have a picture, it's really grainy and terrible, but you could look into closed Toontown,
yep.
and there was like a truck back there, and some of the props were all like plasticed up and on crates, and so we did that, and Max said it was interesting because he did not expect that the train was going to have the Grand Canyon and Primeval World. That was like a surprise for them.
Oh, yeah, because why would they have?
Right. But he
assumed
was
that.
like, I just thought it was just going to be a train around the whole thing.
I was
so.
pretty happy because they were not playing the narrations again, and they didn't have the
ours did.
music going again. When I really like going through the
Yeah.
dioramas without the music. I just like being able to listen to all the additional like noises from the different animals and such that you don't always get to catch when the music's playing.
I agree with you. I also left out, before we got on the train, we got beignets,
oh, there you go.
which were good. And we got on at New Orleans Square, which always seems to have a line. And it did not have a huge line this time.
There
It was
you
amazing.
go.
So you rode the train.
Yep. So we rode the train. We went and hopped on at the Main Street station for our Grand Circle tour. The really cool thing, other than the fact that, it wasn't the narrations and stuff wasn't playing, was when we were actually sitting at the Toontown station, one of the cast members that was working there said something like, "Oh, this is a very special day. You guys should be really honored." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, why? What's up?" And we got to be on this train. I took pictures of it. It was the train 202. So the train is like the cars. We were the first people to ride them post COVID. So they
Oh.
hadn't actually. That was
This
the
is
first
the
time.
first time they brought
Yep,
them out?
that was the first time that they had brought that one out. And so our engine was engine number 4, which is the Ernest S. Marsh engine. I think he said the engine had been out, but
Yeah.
the cars that we were riding
Oh.
in, that was the first time that they had been out. And which made sense because I got really excited because the Lily Bell wasn't attached to it, but they did have a caboose attached to this one. And I don't remember the last time I've seen a regular
Me either.
caboose that's not the Lily Bell. So I was like, oh, that makes sense because if this one's been in storage for however long, that would be why
That's
I didn't
awesome.
remember. So that was a pretty fun, pretty cool.
So you had the
magical
seat
thing.
on Main Street. You had the first run around with the thing. You had and you got
See,
married.
but
I mean, it was just a
like,
great trip.
It was a really amazing, magical trip, but it was like not attraction based at all, which
That's
is weird.
good though, because we've talked about that, how we're getting to the point now where we've gone frequently enough, close enough together that it's not always about the attractions.
Yeah.
I think for me, it wouldn't have been about the attractions this trip, except for we had people that had never gone. So whenever our next trip is, which I think is going to be D23, I think that's how it'll be for us, we'll kind of chill.
It was interesting because I didn't ride anything in Tomorrowland unless you count the monorail.
You didn't ride Space Mountain?
I didn't ride Space Mountain. I didn't ride Indiana Jones.
What?
Yeah, I didn't. I did ride Rise. I did ride Smuggler's Run. The only thing I rode of Fantasyland, though, was the Matterhorn. I did not do any of the dark rides. I did not do Casey Jr. Oh, take that back. I did ride the carousel, so that does count.
We also rode the carousel.
Yeah, but we didn't ride Small World.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy. Anyways.
Vern was probably very happy about that.
But yeah, so it was pretty crazy. So after that, we hopped over to DCA. Met up with my family. We rode Little Mermaid again. I love that attraction. Such a great classic attraction.
It never has a huge line either.
We then went over because the cappuccino, the Joffrey's cappuccino cart's right there. So I went and got my
cold brew.
Yeah.
Did they have the horchata cold brew there?
That was it. I went and got the horchata cold brew, and oh my gosh, it was delicious. One of my favorite. So it wasn't overly super coffee flavored.
Sure.
So if you really like a strong coffee flavor in your cold brew, maybe this one isn't for you, but it was very smooth, very creamy. The horchata came through very nicely, but it wasn't overpowering. Very, very good. Everybody in my group liked it. My uncle got one too. We then went the long way around and went back by Grizzly Peak and all that.
Yeah.
And I had another very exciting thing. I was telling my mom,
Did you see a Disneyland cat?
I did. I saw my first Disneyland cat inside of
There you go.
Inside of one of the parks. So that was really, really fun. We also took a moment and hopped out. I don't remember why we decided to hop out to the Grand Californian, but we did. Oh, because my mom... That was why, because my mom she didn't pay attention to the lobby during the wedding. She just kind of rushed through the lobby to catch up with everyone. So she wanted to go see the lobby. So we hopped out, went and checked out the lobby, that sort of thing.
The lobby is really cool.
The lobby is very cool. So she was like, wow, I'm really glad that we went back and did this because it was really fun. We had dining reservations that night at Lamplight. So that was really great because all we did was
You had the donuts.
I did get the donuts. All we did was appetizers, though. So we had, of course...
But you had the donuts.
We had the nachos. We got it with steak instead of lobster, though.
I didn't know you could substitute that.
Yeah, you could do steak, chicken, or the lobster. We have the potato skins. And then what were the other ones? There was two... Hang on, let me look these up, because they were fantastic.
You still have not talked about the thing that I keep wanting you to talk about.
Which is what?
The donuts.
Oh, that was dessert.
Okay, well, very eager about this. Although I'm also upset because right now, we talked about it in the news earlier, they have the cookies and cream beignets at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen. Ugh.
I know. So we did the potato skins. Oh, that was the other thing we got. Kung Pao Bao. It was a Kung Pao glazed crispy pork belly, soft bao bun, red peppers, toasted peanuts, and grilled green onions. Very, very good. It was a bao bun as in it was not like the dumplings.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like
folded.
Yeah, folded. Yep, exactly. And then the other thing that was actually really, really tasty was the Brussels Caesar. House-made dressing, toasted pine nuts, garlic croutons with roasted red pepper and tomato sauce. It was these little grilled halves of Brussels sprouts that had all this stuff on it. Very, very
That
good.
sounds good.
It was really good.
Grilled Brussels sprouts.
So the table just shared all of these items. And then, yes, I did order the cookies and cream donuts.
How was it?
And they were very yummy. The dip made it. I tried it with and without the cookie dipping sauce. And the dip definitely made it. They were very rich. So it was nice that we shared an order. So then I
almost had you order me a box. I was going to come get them from you.
But then
I should have.
Best part about it was our waitress was so sweet and so kind, and she noticed our buttons that we had just gotten married and asked about it and would whatever. So when she came out with the bill, she comped the cookies and cream donuts for us too.
Just dig it in.
So not only did I get to have them, I get to have them for free. So anyways, I was really touched by that because that was the like only cast member aside from the wedding stuff, like just normal park cast members that like noticed the button and like did something extra special. So that was pretty cool. The other thing that I wanted to mention too, I went into the holiday shop in Disneyland, went over to the people that do all of the writing on the ornaments and on the ears now, and just asked, and I asked what the cost was. I asked if they could do a celebration of the happily,
buttons.
I wanted them to do a happily ever after button, because I don't know why, but I have really, really terrible luck when it comes to asking cast members and finding cast members that do all the really creative and fun stuff on the buttons. I usually get ones they tried.
Yeah.
So I usually don't get like the really fun creative ones. Well, for the wedding, I really wanted a fun creative button to like have as a memory.
Yeah.
So I went over and asked if they could do that. And she's like, oh yeah, sure. And she's like, we can only do it with Sharpie though. I can't do it with the paint pens. I'm like, that's fine. What's the cost? And so she did 2 buttons for Vern and I. I don't know if there's normally a cost or not, but she didn't charge me. So I was pretty excited about that.
And did they turn out as what
they
you
did
had hoped?
turn out really well. Remind me, I'll show you when we're downstairs. I did get a really cute Just Married button for the last day, because the final t-shirt, matchy match t-shirts that I made had the hitchhiking ghosts on them, and then they said just hitched. So, but I had a dark shirt with dark on it, so it was dark on dark, so you could see it, but not like super well. So I wanted a just married button to kind of signify what was going on.
So we were all over the place. And I'm looking through my photos right now, and I remembered how much we ended up kind of zigzagging. And normally I hate this, but I don't know what happened here. So we got off the train on Main Street. I think we ate lunch. Then we went through the Fantasy Fair and saw Snow White and the Queen and everything like that. We went and used the restrooms over in Fantasy or Frontierland. Then we used Lightning Lane, and we got on Space Mountain, which James' favorite attraction. Boys loved it. It was great. Look at this stupid picture. Really great. Everything was fine. Then we went back to Fantasyland, because we're all about going back and forth to Fantasyland, and we rode the teacups, and that was fun. That took a little bit. We rode that. We rode Alice. Then we kind of tried to make through. We rode the carousel, and we saw the the air quotes cavalcade from Storybook Land. And then somehow we ended up back in Galaxy's Edge again, and I think we rode Smuggler's Run, and we got some pictures with Chewie, who was working on the ship. Then we went back to Fantasyland again, and we rode Peter Pan, because we decided just to do it. We also rode Snow White, again, decided just get in the line, just get them done. Yep. Then we went back again and rode Space Mountain again towards the end of the night, and that ended up being our last ride of the trip was Space Mountain, which worked out really well. We did a little bit of shopping and went back to the hotel. Now, the next day I did spend a little bit of time in downtown Disney, which I freaked out because I ended up seeing Marcella Sweat doing her chalk drawing, and I took a picture and sent it to Teresa, and I was like, oh my God. And I talked to her for a while, and I confirmed that it is Sweat. That was the first thing. I'm like, is it Sweat? And she said yes. So I felt good. I said, good, because we have a podcast, and I swore that I was pronouncing your name wrong. So her and the other person who does chalk drawings, the artist who does the 3D chalk drawings, she was talking about how she's been fighting for them to be doing more and more of these things. She
they're
said
so cool.
All she wants Disney to do is pay for her supplies. Like she will come and do it. She loves doing it. So it was great talking to her. I talked to her probably a lot longer than I feel like I should have talked to her, but she just kept talking to me. So I was like, okay. So that was a lot of fun. With her, we looked at like pin traders and stuff, trying to like kill some time before we had to go catch our flight. Took one last photo in front of California Adventure and Disneyland, and then flew home. But Teresa, you had a lot more fun after.
I haven't even finished my park stuff yet, because
oh my goodness,
you left me at like 6 p.m. is when I was.
Well, yeah, because I started going through, and then we have gaps in time. But yeah, but it was a fun trip.
So to wrap up our time in the parks, This is going to sound ridiculous. After dinner, we decided I had my Sip and Savor pass. So we had to go through and make sure that we got all of the tabs used up. So it was good that we did kind of a light dinner and just shared appetizers with, I think there was six of us. It was me, Vern, my parents, and then my aunt and uncle.
I didn't ask.
Shared the 4 plates.
Where did you sit?
Oh, we sat right on the water.
Oh, nice.
On the lower part. It was gorgeous. Like,
cool.
The sun had just set. I took pictures. They moved the thing up, and it was just like the perfect golden, like everything. All the lights were turned on for the fun wheel, but it was like just still light enough that you got the reflection off the water really nice. It was beautiful. Anyway, so I'll just quickly go through what other food items we grabbed. This is when I went over to Cluckadoodle Moo, got the French onion grilled beef tenderloin slider, which I really, really wanted to like, but my tenderloin was not. It was just very tough. And then I also got the blackberry lavender lemonade, which I was actually really excited for. I can't in good faith recommend it. It was so tart and so sour that I actually had to hand it off, and I couldn't finish it.
So was it better or worse than the thing we had during the was it the holiday or?
So that was kind of like watered down, so you could still drink it. It was fine. This one was like, it was too intense for me. And then the other places that we stopped by is we stopped over by Nuts About Cheese, and I grabbed 2 of the Snickers Mickey macarons for the group of 6 to share. And then we also ran back to so since my blackberry lemonade, my blackberry lavender lemonade was a fail for me. I needed a drink, so I ran over to Delish, grabbed the Central California cooler. That was really good. I rated that a 4 out of 5. Peach, apple, orange, and lemon juice, non-alcoholic drink. It would have been amazing. Like if I would have had that in the middle of the day, in the heat of the day, it would have been so good, so refreshing. Just the right amount of sweet. Also just the right amount of tartness, so it had a really nice balance. Well,
especially after what you just had.
Yes, had a really nice balanced flavor. We also ran back to LA Style because we ended, the last thing that I did in a Disney park was Mickey's PhilharMagic.
Oh, interesting.
But we ran back because I really wanted to try the glazed barbecue pork belly from LA Style and also the Euro-inspired flatbread featuring Impossible ground beef. 5 out of 5 on both of those. That was probably, if I was going to say what my favorite, that was my favorite booth. Both of those dishes were just incredible. The glazed barbecue pork belly was
pork belly is always good, isn't it?
It was such a large portion. It was 2 big hunks of pork belly plus a big scoop of mac salad. So that could have been my dinner in and of itself. Thankfully, there were 6 of us sharing all of these dishes. So there was, plenty of stomach room to be able to try all these things. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten through it. Super, super fun. But we finished the night by going over to do Mickey's PhilharMagic. And then the other super amazing, wonderful thing that happened that evening was we went over to Radiator Springs because my aunt and uncle hadn't seen that part of the park yet. So we were back there after dark to see all the lights. And I saw that they had the pin trading cone out. So I rushed over, looked at the cone. There was nothing on it that I really cared about or, really cared for, needed, anything like that. And I was chatting with the cast member that was there. And all of a sudden I looked and he had this little baggie in front of him that had 2 pins in it. One of them being the most amazing pin that I was opening all these mystery packs trying to find. It was the Disneyland D in purple with Maleficent. And so he may have seen the look on my face because my eyes probably got huge when I saw it, and I was like, oh, is that Maleficent D pin up for trading? He's like, well, this is a pin trade, this is pin trading. I said, yeah, but it's not, it's not out. I said, is it available? He's like, take a pretty special pin for me to give this up. So I was able to trade for it. So
what did you trade for? Do you remember?
It was a Mike and Sully pin. It was actually a really cute pin that I did want to keep because it was adorable, but Maleficent Disney D, sorry.
Yep.
Hopefully I get another one of those Mike and Sully pins. But if not, well worth the trade. I was so excited for this. So excited, in fact, that I rushed over to the bench that my family was sitting at, put it on the bench, took a picture, and sent it to you, and I was like, best pin trade ever!
Oh, yeah.
Or something. I was so excited.
You were very excited.
I did really not to brag. Maybe we'll talk about this and show some of these things off in our live stream later this month. I did really, really well with pin trading this time again. I'm impressed with myself because going from a newbie to like feeling pretty good about it and such, I feel like that was a pretty short amount of time. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, you sent it to me at 10:03 p.m. I don't know what day.
Trade.
Best period pin period trade period ever with 5 exclamation points and in all caps.
Happy.
And this was, by the way, that was after you had sent the picture of the donuts to me.
Yes.
So I was a little bitter with you at that point.
And you're like, and now she got a Maleficent pin.
Yeah, it is. You were getting married. It was supposed to be magical, and it was.
It was very magical.
Can't hold too much a grudge with you. Okay, so we're not going to go into the same level of detail.
Oh, yeah. We can quickly talk about
as we do with
the
Disney.
Post-Disney trip.
Because I want to hear about this too.
Yeah, so after Disney, so Wednesday, Vern and I actually had rented a car, and we had extended our trip out, and we weren't flying back until Sunday. So between Wednesday and Sunday, we went on a southern and middle California adventure, which Vern was so funny because he's always said, we've been to California so many times and all I've seen is Disney. As we're driving, we should have paid attention to how many hours and how many miles we put on. Because at one point he's like, if I ever say that I've not seen California, you just remind me of this because we spent a lot of time driving.
State.
Well, it was great though because yes, it was a lot of time driving in the car to get up to all of our destinations, but it was so much more of California that I hadn't seen.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of like the valley area where there's a lot of the farmlands and stuff. I was joking. I'm like, they need to have signs on the side of the road to tell me what kind of trees these are. And I was like, I'm assuming we saw some almond trees. I really don't know what the rest of... There were some ones that were like mandarin oranges, and I only know this because we went past the Halo like factory.
Sure.
Anyway, so what we did was we rented the car, drove up to Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon National Park. So Wednesday afternoon and evening, we spent exploring parts of that park. I was crazy and didn't actually pre-book hotels at all because I wasn't sure where we'd be or what our timeline would be. So I was just booking hotels as we went. So we booked a hotel that night. The hotel was, I want to say it was an hour and a half from the national park. So booked the hotel, did the national park, went back to the hotel. There was a Blaze Pizza on the same corner as our hotel. Let me tell you though, it's not like downtown Disney, or it's not like Disney resort area quality. It was okay, but they didn't have my blood orange lemonade. They were out for the night and they were out a lot. Anyways, it was okay. Got up the next morning, went back to Sequoia National Park. The night before we did like the south entrance and kind of like that part of it. And so the next morning we did the north entrance, which was Kings Canyon and other stuff. Man, I tell you, that was the first time I'd ever seen sequoia trees, and they are just, pictures just don't do them justice.
No.
They were beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. I also was not expecting to encounter snow in my California journey, so that was a little interesting. I want to say it was maybe like the low 50s when we were up in Sequoia, so that was interesting. But then drove to the next hotel because the next day we spent at Death Valley. So I went from the snow at Sequoia to then going to Death Valley. The high end Death Valley when we were in Badwater Basin was 102.
Your body's probably going, what are you doing?
Happening? Yeah. I didn't realize how large Death Valley National Park was. Everything I knew about Death Valley National Park really was just Badwater Basin. So I thought that was it. You would be so excited and happy about this. We did a self-guided Star Wars tour through Death Valley National Park because a lot of episode 4 and parts of episode 6 were filmed there.
Oh, interesting.
So it was part of the National Parks app that you can go do this self-guided tour. And so they had little, they told you where things were and then had a little blip about what was.
I assume Vern really liked this.
Yes. So we found the sand dunes that C-3PO and R2-D2 were wandering around on. So we were pretending we were droids and wandering around on the sand dunes.
I can see you and Vern doing this.
Yeah. There's a different, there was this canyon area that they shot for episode 6 to show where Jabba the Hutt's palace was. What else did we see? There was some other canyons that they had the Jawas, when the Jawas were going after them.
Yeah.
And the Tusken Raiders, like those different canyons we found that. There's also a lookout point that they shot when Luke and Obi-Wan are like looking out over.
Oh, like Mos Eisley?
Yeah, when they're looking out over at the town. They're actually looking at Badwater Basin.
Oh.
Spoiler alert. What else?
Then they just like put in the town?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's fun because then when we came back, we watched episode 4 and fast forwarded to all those parts. And we're like, oh my gosh, like there's this or there's that.
That's cool.
It was really, really fun. Vern was very excited. He got to check off his running bucket list. He ran a mile in Badwater Basin on the like salt flats.
Oh.
I don't know how he did that. So we went out on the salt flats. And for those of you that have never been, like myself, it was not what I expected because, of course, you have all these tourists, like myself, trompsing around all over it. So the photos you see versus what it actually was not the same thing. So I told Vern, I'm like, we got to keep walking. So we walked out. We walked a half mile all the way out to like where nobody had been tromping around.
Sure.
It was super neat and super cool out there. Well, it was also 102 degrees. So we decided, after we were out there, I'm like, oh, we should probably go back. So halfway back to the car, all of a sudden, it was weird. The weather there was so weird. It's the driest and hottest place. And like halfway back, I'm like, Vern, it feels like we've ran like 5 miles and all we've done is like walked a little ways. But you just like took so much out of you. You poured water on you and it like instantly evaporated.
Oh, wow.
It was weird. So anyway, so I like was getting really hot. So I went back to the car, sat in the air conditioner, was drinking water. And Vern's like, I'm going to go for a run. I'm like, you're insane. But he did. He had real fun. He took his water bottle with him. It was really fun watching all of the other people that were like out there.
And he's running by.
And they're all just looking at him like, what is with this person? But he was really excited because, like I said, that was a running bucket list thing for him.
That's awesome.
So then the final day we drove over to we got a hotel in Cathedral City, which is right next to Palm Springs.
I know Cathedral City.
The last day we spent in Joshua Tree National Park, which is also very cool, very beautiful.
I'm sure you didn't, but I have to ask about the one thing I know about in Cathedral City.
Okay.
Did you drive by the Mary Pickford movie theater?
Oh, no. If we did, I didn't notice.
When I worked for the movie theater,
yeah.
that was one of our things, and they had built that new about the time I left.
Oh.
And it was named after the famous actress of the 1920s, Mary Pickford. And it was like we were the what is it called? What is it called when it's like the
flagship?
The flagship theater of the company. Well, they, I think, ended up being the flagship theater, and I remember seeing pictures of it and thinking it was gorgeous. But that's funny, this Cathedral City.
That is funny. So I want to just briefly talk about food. I know this is going to sound weird, but we talk about food a lot. And I had a lot of firsts, and I think our California and our West Coast listeners would be
I'm really
very excited about the firsts that we had and the experiences we had. So first day, In-N-Out. That was my first ever In-N-Out experience. I was really good. So the guy that was working at the counter, I wish I would have remembered his Brian, that's his name, was great. Vern went up and was just like, we've never been here before. What do you do? So Brian basically said, I'm going to order you what I order for myself. So we had Brian's order with, like, do you want a single, double, cheese, no cheese, that kind of thing. So we had cheeseburgers, and I had a cheeseburger, Vern had a double. They were both done animal style.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but it was delicious. It was like how they did the toppings on them.
Oh, okay.
And then fries. Vern had a strawberry shake. I just had a regular drink. Very good. I was like, this is like their version of Culver's. I get it now.
I will say, when James and I did the road trip this last summer, we also had In-N-Out, and I remember In-N-Out not being like the best thing ever when I had tried it years and years ago, and I never understood why people made a big stink about it. But you know what's funny? We enjoyed it when we had it, and there are times when I'm thinking of burgers, and I'm like, man, I wish I could have an In-N-Out burger. Because Five Guys is kind of like it.
Yeah, it's similar.
But I don't think it's as good. Like, I love Five Guys fries.
Yeah,
their fries are amazing. Anyway, sorry.
So that was that day. Then the next night for dinner, you're going to laugh so hard.
Okay.
And I had to text one of our friends about this.
Okay.
Wiener Schnitzel. We stopped at a Wiener Schnitzel.
I've never had Wiener Schnitzel.
It's interesting.
Because they have the A-shaped buildings, right?
So this one didn't. But yeah, originally they did. Vern had 2 different types of hot dogs. I got the mini corn. I we had a really weird variety of stuff. I had the mini corn dogs and they had jalapeno poppers, so that's what I had. I did have a bite of Vern's.
Was it good?
Hot dog. He had a Chicago hot dog, and the other one was called like the Junkyard or something like that. I was surprised because it would be, it's not like something people probably go out of their way to go and have, but it was really good. The drink I had was really delicious too. It was I want to say it was like a watermelon and strawberry lemonade.
You always get these interesting
it was pineapple.
drinks.
It was a pineapple berry lemonade.
You always get these
very, very
interesting
good. Drinks.
Vern
was like hooked. If we could have just eaten there the rest of the time, he loved. I don't know why he liked it so much, but he did.
That's
I also
all
got
right.
a shake from there to share for dessert that night.
You guys love
Super good,
shakes,
too.
don't you? I didn't know you guys were such shake fans.
And then the last night, this was super cool. We decided, because I had heard that Palm Springs is really neat. So I wanted to find some local something in Palm Springs to have dinner. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself. What was that place called? So we were laughing because, right, In-N-Out's got a very basic menu. You want burgers, you want fries, you want shakes. Perfect. We got you. Wiener Schnitzel. You want hot dogs, you want corn dogs. Awesome. We got you. On our way to Cathedral City after Death Valley, we stopped at a place called Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
We had those.
4 things. I loved it. There were 4 things on the menu. You could get a 3-piece chicken tender. You could get a 4-piece chicken tender. You could get a 6-piece chicken tender, or you get a chicken tender sandwich. They were so dang good. And they had fresh squeezed, fresh made lemonade.
Yep.
Not bitter at all. Super, super delicious.
We stopped at Raising Cane's on our trip. It was in like the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, I think. Yeah. And it was like we wanted to eat something and we were looking what's near the road and we went there, and like I'm not a huge chicken fingers, like I'm one of those weirdos. I like chicken McNuggets.
Oh no, you like the
I like the process stuff. Like it probably isn't really chicken. Because I've gotten Culver stuff too, and it's just too like I just want a chicken dinner. Then I don't want like a chicken.
I like chicken tenders that I can pull apart and like the meat like pulls apart.
But it was good. We did eat there, and it was good.
It was super.
Raising Cane's interesting. Okay,
yeah, super good.
So what was your local place?
And then the local place. This was so much fun. Okay. So, Kate had been telling us about how Palm Springs is very like mid-century modern vibes and all this stuff. So yes. Okay. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. Anyways, I was on Yelp and I was trying to find a local place. Like what's some not thing that we could get back in Wisconsin that's only here. And I found not one, but there's like 5 tiki bars or something.
Okay.
In Palm Springs area, which was that's super cool because we do not have tiki bars here in the Midwest at all. And tiki bars are fun as well,
and tiki bars have like a following, like a cult following.
Oh, I would be all about it if I lived near tiki bars. Anyways, we went to check out the Reef. Super, super fun. Good food. I took a bunch of pictures inside. But yeah, the Reef is actually, it's a tiki bar that's inside of a hotel, but the hotel was all like tiki themed and all this stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Super, super cool. I had it was a Kahlua pulled pork sandwich, and Vern had this like, I don't even remember what it was. Some monstrosity burger, Hawaiian burger thing that had a like pineapple ring on it. Very, very good.
Similar to what you get at the Trader Sam's?
Better.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I had this fun blue cocktail. It tasted kind of like a pina colada.
Oh.
And then Vern had a zombie and said it was really, really good. I laughed because I was going around looking at all the decor. They had X-Wings just randomly like hanging out.
Are they tiki X-Wings?
No, they're just regular X-Wings.
Oh.
They were just fun.
How random.
Oh my gosh. It was, super, super fun. So that was our last night, was hanging out at this tiki bar. I don't remember what
And where did you fly home from?
Palm Springs.
Oh, okay. And was the airport, how was the airport there?
The airport was interesting. So we went through security, and as soon as you get out of security, you go outside again. So half of the airport is actually like an outdoor mall type thing, and then the other half was inside.
That's cool.
It was really interesting. I was like, well, you wouldn't find this in the Midwest.
Well, how big is the airport? Is it like our local tiny airport?
No, bigger. It was maybe closer, if I had to guess.
Ana?
Yeah, closer to Santa Ana size. Maybe not quite that big, but it was a good size. Not too big, not too small.
Did you have to walk on the tarmac to get on the plane?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
That, by the way, that's a weird bucket list item for me.
To walk onto the
because
tarmac.
I see like Hawaii's like that. They don't have like terminal, like you get off, they roll the stairs up and you walk down the stairs or whatever.
Not when I went to Hawaii.
Well, some places in Hawaii have that. So it's a bucket list item for me.
So that was the final day. It was a ton of fun. Tons of fun. So like I said before, Vern and I are both big Disney nuts, but we're also big national park nuts.
So it was a great trip.
Really, really amazing to go do 3 national parks at the end of our wedding trip.
I'm tired just listening to all of that.
Yeah, we were pretty exhausted when we came back. Thankfully, we did have the day Monday. Both of us just took the day off to try and recoup.
Probably much needed.
Yes. I wish I would have also taken Tuesday off, but it's okay. It was a ton of fun, and we were very, very excited and very happy to have done it all. It was like the perfect trip.
Now, did you say that this wasn't really your honeymoon? Like you want to do something different?
Yep, I was calling this our mini moon. It was just, something that we decided to do last minute. Instead of spending the week at the parks, we decided to go explore some instead when I realized that these parks, in the grand scheme of things, the parks weren't terribly far.
Sure.
It was a lot of driving. Don't get me wrong; they were far, but
sure.
Compared to Wisconsin, they were pretty close. So, eventually we want to do something when things kind of calm down. We haven't decided if we want to go to it's going to involve a Disney park, of course. We're not sure if we're going to do Europe and do Disneyland Paris, or if we want to go to China and do the parks there. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you. Right now, I think Paris looks gorgeous because they just renovated a bunch of stuff for their 30th that just kicked off. So I don't know when you'll go, but I feel like
the soonest we would go would be next year, if not the year after, because we did spend 10 days out in California just for the wedding. So
it'd be really funny. So kind of like the Matterhorn situation. It'd be really funny if our Europe trip coincided with your Europe trip and we had like a couple days in Disneyland Paris together.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Well, that does it for that trip. It was a massive trip. You guys sounded like you had an amazing, fun, great time.
Yeah, it was great.
It was weird to be there together. It was a very abnormal Disney trip for the both of us. So looking forward to the next time, and hopefully we can get to that point where we're kind of doing what you did, which is that cool, chill, people watching thing, because I think I'm about there.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was the other thing we did on the last day was Dapper Dans. We caught the Dapper Dans a couple of times.
Yeah.
The last day when it was just Vern and I. So it was all about the ambience.
I missed the Dapper Dans. I was trying to make a point. I didn't look in the app, to be fair, but I was hoping we would come across them because I wanted the boys to see them. I don't know if they'd care. I will say when we got back, they posted that thing on Instagram that they did the We Don't Talk About Bruno, which they would have liked. But I don't even think they were doing that at the time. But
yeah, I'm not sure if I think We Don't Talk About Bruno, it looked like it was just like for that video. I don't think they're performing it in the park. But I tell you, we got off the train, we got off our Grand Circle tour, and they were performing in front of the firehouse. And they were doing their like Grand Circle tour songs. I love that when they do that because they sing different songs from
that's
different,
cool.
Different attractions in different parts of the park. So that was really, really cool. Always a good time. Anyways, thank you again to everyone for being so supportive, and thank you for all of your congratulations and all of your very kind messages. You're going to
get a bunch more when I post this episode.
It's really amazing. It's one thing, to get married at the happiest place on earth, but then to have all these weekly tiers all excited about it and happy for us too is really, really cool. My one regret, I don't know how we didn't manage to do this. We did not get a wedding day picture of you, myself, Vern, and James.
Weren't we in some wedding photo of yours? No? I was, but James wasn't it?
Yeah, we the only time that all 4 of us are in a picture was the big group photo. But I wish we would have had one of just the 4 of us that we could have used for podcasts. I mean, you don't have to put this in for that. But I was thinking about that later. I'm like, dang it!
Yeah,
we had so many dang cameras all over the place.
Right. Yeah, which is funny because I don't think you took nearly as many photos as you normally take this trip. I mean, you did when you were not at Disneyland, but at Disneyland.
A million pictures not at Disneyland. It was crazy.
There was something else I wanted to say. Oh, I also want to say, for a weekly tier out there, I want to say congratulations on your retirement, Deanne.
Oh, yes.
Who just retired from working at the Postal Service for, do you even know how long she worked there?
No,
a long time.
Yep.
So
but
congratulations.
She got to celebrate in Disneyland, which I thought was pretty amazing.
So as Maynard went off into the sunset and retired.
She and Maynard had the same day.
There you go.
Because they both their retirement dates were April 1st.
So congratulations to Maynard and to Deanne for retiring.
Yes.
And it finally happened because we kept joking with her that she was never going to retire because she kept going to Disneyland and spending money and she wanted to wait. So congratulations for that.
It's okay. I'll be the only weekly tier without an answer. Make sure you send your questions to Producer James or Producer Vern at trivia@DLWeekly.net.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, where we're going to find out the answers to the questions. How do you think you did tonight?
I'm feeling pretty okay.
50%.
50%.
I said that last time.
Of 5.
Of 5.
But there,
Yeah, I think the
Something.
Children's Network or the Children's Charity might only be a half point since I don't think we got the charity name right.
No. Well, how would that even be a half point? Anyway, we'll find out.
If he's feeling generous.
We're not the scorers.
That's true.
All right, well, let's find out how you did. And listeners, will find out how you did. Your first question from listener Chris Y. What classical music piece can be heard in the cue of Roger Rabbit's Toontown Spin? Your guess was Beethoven's Ninth and Stumped. The correct answer that I was looking for was Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2 by
Oh,
Franz
yeah, nope.
Liszt.
Would not have been able to pull that out of thin air.
Yes, Hungarian Rhapsody. Right next to Bohemian Rhapsody and I'm sure other Rhapsodies.
Yes.
Sure tag.
Your second question from my observations around the park. From 1956 to 1977, this attraction occupied the space that is now Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Your guess was Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland. And the correct answer was Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland.
Woo! I knew it was going to be Big Thunder related because that was the only thing that was really in your lobby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it
Because
replaced it.
Yeah, because it
Yep.
was the Frontierland Tower. So, yeah.
But it was cool because they have the model there in the
They
lobby.
do. It's the model, like the model, the scale model that the Imagineers used is on display in the Frontierland Tower lobby. So if you are in the area and need something to do other than hang out at the parks or chill in downtown Disney, the lobbies of the hotels at the Disneyland Hotel are really cool because the model is there in the Frontierland Tower, but then in the Adventureland Tower, they have different little models from stuff like different figures from the Jungle Cruise and different things like that for the decor in there. The
Fantasy Tower has that whole
Towers,
wall of
there's a
of stuff.
ton of stuff in the Fantasy Tower.
Well, that's the main tower.
Yep, like history, like Disneyland history wise kind of stuff. It's really, really neat.
Yeah.
Your third question. Again, from my observations and a subsequent deep dive. Snow White's wishing well says, your wishes will help children everywhere. Do you know how? I gave you half a point because you were on the right track, and then you talked yourself out of it,
Oh, no.
and then you got one set of wheels on the track again, and you had the idea. It was actually Walt's idea because the coins could be easily gathered and donated to charities, and Disney currently partners with Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they have their own Disney Wish program, which is a collaboration with nonprofits granting nonprofit Make-A-Wish type foundations that grant 750 wishes a year to children that wish to go to Disneyland. And your fourth and final regular round question from Minister Aaron. Geologists, architects, and construction foremen rely on survey markers, those brass plates inlaid in the ground, to guide them, giving them clues to latitude, longitude, and other information. How many survey markers can you find in Disneyland Resort? Your guesses were 38 and 20. The correct answer that I was looking for was 16 in Disneyland, 31 in Disney California Adventure, and 2 in Downtown Disney,
Why are there
for
so
a
many
total
in
of
DCA?
49.
That's crazy. That's so many.
Maybe they just didn't quite have enough when they did Disneyland, so they learned their lesson and doubled it up for DCA.
Still, though, that's crazy.
And your bonus question tonight.
Oh,
Translate
that's
this
sweet,
and tell
Bonnie.
me where you can hear it. Long, 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 short, long, short, long, short, 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 long, short, 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 long, long, long. And you got the point, and you knew that it was the Morse code playing of Walt's speech at New Orleans Square Station.
I do have to say that I appreciate your commitment to speaking Morse code.
Thank you.
I don't know if I would have spoken Morse code like you did.
I thought about like trying to tap it out or something like that, and I decided it was going to be easier and more fun to long short it.
I think you just need to get a Morse code thing, so you go.
See, now I feel like I should have did it.
That's all right.
You've shamed me.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to.
That's okay. I'm over it.
Already. Look at that. Shame doesn't last long.
Yep. Well, listeners, how did you do listening at home? How do you feel about how Tag and Teresa did? Do you think you've got the perfect question that's going to really stump them next week? If you feel you've got that question, feel free to send it in to us at trivia@DLWeekly.net.
We will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us. And we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.